1, 2, 3, 4. Just a little more, I don't need to know what the future holds.
The double champion, another level. He is gonna do it! In the top spot, smashes the world record. He's just got it up. It's gold! Incredible!
Good morning and welcome to the final day of the World Indoor Athletics Championships as the Chinese megacity of Nanjing prepares to bid farewell to a competition it's waited 5 long years to host. But before we head outdoors for the summer, we've got 10 more world champions to crown. And joining me to look ahead to what's going to be a jam-packed final session are Jessica Ennis-Hill and Paula Radcliffe. We've enjoyed these last couple of days. They've been great. A small British team, but it's kind of punched its weight.
It has, absolutely. It's a small team, as you say, but they've gone out and they've all performed and maybe even surpassed expectations, so great.
Yeah, and some of those big names who are missing might be looking on thinking that was one that actually we might have wanted to go to, because some of the big names who've come have delivered, and that's always great for the sport, isn't it, to see those names out there competing.
Yeah, I think it's what's so great about athletics is that you see those big head-to-heads and those big names, but you also see the big championships offering opportunities to individuals who haven't been on the global stage before, and you know, they really shine and show us something that we've not seen before, which is great.
And today, more opportunities for medals for Great Britain. But looking back, it might be one of the athletes who didn't win a medal who kind of, I think, personifies what these championships are about. Amy Hunt obviously came 5th in the 60 metres, but for her, as she put it, the 4th of her favourites, you know, in terms of what she does, that was a really important development marker, wasn't it? And that's what these championships are about for young athletes.
Yeah, I think for many of the people coming into this year, given how loaded the season is and how long it's going to go on as well, right to those World Championships, then using the World Indoor Championships, although it is a World Championships, as a kind of springboard into that and a growing experience and just a way to work on the areas that are maybe not your best. And Amy's talked about the fact that it's difficult for her to get moving that quickly over the 60 metres, and she's really kind of getting into her stride towards the end of it. But that will all be great in terms of the strength going into a really good start in the 200 metres later on.
OK, well, we're going to hear from the President of World Athletics, Lord Sebastian Coe, in the next half an hour, as our first live action doesn't get underway until 11:30, but it's also given us a chance to look back on a huge moment for Great Britain's Amber Anning.
This, an opportunity which won't come round too often. Great Britain have never had a world champion in the women's 400 metres. So Amber Anning gets the lead, exactly what she wanted. Who's got second? It's the American who pushes and shoves. Oh, Amber Anning didn't get across the American, now has to stay calm. Alexis Holmes has got the advantage here. Amber Anning will be able to strike Shirley Jaeger on the inside. Can Amber Anning come off the bend and strike here? It's the American and Amber Anning on the outside. Is the line going to come quick enough? Amber Anning gets the gold! Brilliant run! World champion, Amber Anning.
Amber, a multi-medal winner when it came to the relays over the last few years, with 2 bronzes at the Paris Olympics. But this was her first ever individual medal in a major championship, so why not make it gold? And there she is with a huge smile and the medal round her neck, ready to hear the anthem for the first time as a senior athlete. And I'm delighted to say the new World Indoor 400-metre champion joins us live from Nanjing right now. Hello, Amber. Congratulations. You were just looking there at that moment. Has it sunk in that you are a world champion?
Honestly, not really. It's been a crazy 24 hours, honestly, but just being out here and seeing the track again, I can't believe I was here yesterday winning. So it's just a surreal feeling, honestly.
It was a really physical final, wasn't it? Let's have a look back, because there was a moment in there where you didn't quite make it to the position you wanted, and it got a little bit physical. Were you worried at that point that your plan was not being executed as you'd hoped?
Definitely. I think I visualized the race so much, but I never thought that I wouldn't either get the break first or be in that position. So I think I was proud of myself for staying calm, kind of getting back into my rhythm and staying on the pace. I didn't leave it late to finish like that, but I'm just grateful that I had determination and grit and just fought to the line.
And there you are, getting slightly knocked off your stride, aren't you? And Jaeger's just coming up on your shoulder. Talk us through what's going through your mind at that moment.
I was just trying not to panic and just relying on my strength. I knew that I could finish strong, but I also didn't want to move early. So I just had to really just stay focused, keep moving my arms, and really just wait to time it perfectly in the home straight. But yeah, it was really, really close. A lot closer than I thought, but I knew that it was, it's a World Championship final and it was going to take a lot to win. So I just had to kind of remain faithful in myself and know that I can finish.
A really great fight to the finish there, and obviously you knew you were in great form. Even in Apeldoorn, you knew you were in great form, and things there didn't go to plan because of the disqualification. Was that fueling you even more out here in China?
Definitely. I was so excited to have another opportunity to come out here and compete. It's just been an amazing championship, and yeah, the Europeans was really disappointed, but just grateful to be out here, and it's been a lot of fun.
It looks like it's been a lot of fun, actually. We've seen you with Jeremiah Aziz showing off your gold medals as well. That must be a special moment for two young athletes getting themselves to the top of the podium for the first time on the global stage.
Definitely. I mean, we've known each other since we started track. We've been through junior rankings together and then transitioning into the senior rankings and making the Olympics last year. So this is a really special moment for both of us. I just think it's a great start to the 2025 season, and I'm excited to see what both of us have for the rest of the year.
You've been pitting yourself against some of the very best young athletes for a few years now in America, with the NCAAs obviously, but this is your first season away from that kind of collegiate program. So it's all a bit new, I imagine, this season. What's the plan? Where are you going to base yourself?
Definitely. So I'm still based at the University of Arkansas with my coach, same training group, same setup and facility. And I think this is my first year pro, so just having fun with it, taking it day by day, not being too focused on peaking for certain races, but just enjoying the moment. But it's a long season. We have Worlds in September in Tokyo, so back to the drawing board. I've got a couple of weeks, hopefully, to rest up from this, and then we start again. But I'm really excited. I'm excited to be on the pro circuit and compete in different countries and just get a feel for what it's like to be pro.
Yeah, and in spite of the fact that Great Britain have got such a rich heritage of 400-metre running, you are the first gold medal winner at the World Indoors, which we were all kind of amazed at that statistic yesterday. You do follow those some fantastic athletes, Olympic champions, world champions outdoors.
Yes, I'm actually shocked too. I was really surprised with the calibre of the athletes we've had, as you said. I'm not sure why we haven't, but no, I'm just very grateful to be in this position. I'm really looking forward to the outdoors. I'm looking forward to pushing that British record even further. But yeah, I'm just excited for the season.
It's going to be great, I'm sure, and you're going to really enjoy it. And you did get a chance, didn't you, to go out and about. We saw you kind of somewhere out in Nanjing yesterday, letting your hair down a little bit.
Yes. This is the first time I've actually been able to go in the city that I've competed in, because usually I have the relay, but we didn't bring any this time. So I've had a nice off day today, been able to look in the city, kind of get a feel for the culture and just really enjoy the celebration from yesterday.
Yeah, you can enjoy the madness of the relays from afar for once today, Amber.
Yes, I'm actually looking forward to supporting some of my teammates who will be representing Team USA in their relay. So I'll be there on the sideline supporting her. But no, I'm grateful to not be running and resting my legs.
Well, enjoy today. Thank you so much for joining us, and best of luck for the season ahead.
Thank you so much.
A brilliant performance from Amber Anning. She was, of course, Great Britain's second gold medal winner from these championships. Could there be more to come? Here's what we have in store for you this morning. The semi-finals of the women's 60-metre hurdles get underway at 25 to 12, with that final to come at 1 o'clock. Scott Lincoln is Great Britain's hope in the men's shot put final, with Olympic champion Tentoglou the pick of the bunch in the long jump. A fascinating men's heptathlon concludes with the punishing 1,000 metres just after midday. And then we're going to see Jakob Ingebrigtsen attempting to do the double in the men's 1500 metres before Georgia Hunter-Bell goes for gold in the women's event at 12:30. That's followed by the men and women's 800-metre finals, and we'll finish, as always, at an indoor championship, as I just mentioned there, with the men's and women's 4x400-metre relay. You don't want to miss that. There's always some drama. So plenty to come, and our live action gets underway in 20 minutes' time, which gives us a chance to reflect on events in China overnight, starting with the heats of the women's 60-metre hurdles.
Safely away, steadily away, Nugent, no more than that, and Clemens going nicely also on the inside bomb of Belgium. But here comes Akira Nugent now, just easing herself through 7:90. Again, sort of benchmark for good hurdling. Good 60 hurdling is for women is sub 8 seconds. So 7:19, she made that look very, very simple. Clemens looked all right actually as well.
Yeah, Nugent there from Jamaica, she didn't have the best start at all. I think she could have possibly walloped the first hurdle as well. That's why it took her a little bit of time to move through the field. But you can see once she gets going, the pace that she has over the barriers, running off them and going into the next one, it's just outstanding.
Very good start by Devon Charlton, nearest to us, and Sarah Lavin in the middle also going well. De Mello up to the top of the picture for Brazil, just about side by side with Sarah Lavin, but it is Devon Charlton, takes it 7:94. Again, a little strapping on her leg. You know, for someone who ran 7:65 last year, just not convinced by Devon Charlton's form at the moment.
Visser smartly away, but Foster next to her. Visser looking strong now, and look at that, a good 2 meters away. The American does well. 7:83. Now that's way quicker. You saw Charlton making 7:93, was it 94? Look very hard, and Visser just making that look very easy, and a bit like we saw in the sprints yesterday, you know, with the European indoor medalists coming out on top. In the 60 hurdles, it's beginning to look that way. We're going to see Skrzyszowska coming up and Kambundji as well, but Visser, nothing to suggest she's not going to contend. 7:82 is miles ahead, Colin.
Miles ahead, and you can see the real quality, isn't it, of the athlete there. Someone who's full of running, good confidence, off a personal best at the Europeans, as you mentioned, Steve. But I think she wasn't hassled at all, was she? She was never challenged.
Oh, what a flying start by Danisha Cartwright, the Bahamian leaving Stark at the moment, but here comes the American back into things. Oh, didn't she finish that well? 7:73. Yeah, it's just about, well, maybe not the start, but the rest of the race, the quickest we've seen so far. Very, very impressive. A new personal best for Grace Stark by a couple of hundredths of a second. And Cartwright might have got out very quickly. She did on her way to a personal best, but it was Stark who was flying at the end.
When I saw this start list, Andrew, I thought, well, this is going to be a race, isn't it? There's definitely going to be a race. And it has been produced there. Personal best, 7:73, 7:78, so early doors.
Kambundji again gets a good start. Skrzyszowska just got left a little bit, unusual for the pole, but she's right up with Kambundji now, the two of them forging on, and it's Skrzyszowska who takes the win. Kambundji deciding not to go so hard. We've talked yesterday about navigating the slam into the mattress there, the two of them just about coming off unscathed. So Skrzyszowska didn't get out quite as good as maybe she often does. Kambundji did. But then she just allowed, am I using this right, allowed Skrzyszowska to take that. Well, the big names at the top of that qualification list there, Stark and Cartwright with that very quick heat, 73, 78. Then Visser, who looked very good, Skrzyszowska and Kambundji we've just seen. I guess the one there was Devon Charlton, who didn't impress as much. Sarah Lavin through, 1 or 2 personal bests, season's best being set amongst the other qualifiers. So they are the 16. Well, I think we're having 2 semi-finals. I'm wrong. Can't count Colin. 24. Of course, we're having 3 semi-finals.
It's early. It's early.
I know.
Early, yeah.
I know.
Well, to be fair to Steve, that was about 3 a.m. when he was commentating on those. There are 3. They're coming up in about 10 minutes' time or so. From what you saw there, who looks to you like the one to favour? Visser looked good.
Yeah, I think it's always tricky with the hurdles, but I think there was a good indication that I think Visser looked fantastic. She was great at the European indoors and she's just very clean in her hurdling. She looked very attacking as well, so I think she had a very, very good run. But, I mean, Kumbunji, she was fantastic at the European indoors. I think she equalled Susan Culler's European record, which is fantastic. I think it stands since 2008. But yeah, she's in fine form. She was very, very closely challenged there, but I think that she'll, you know, increase her speed and do something special in the next round.
Good to see Devon Charlton there. Obviously, a lot of the top Americans are not in China because they've been signed up for Grand Slam in a couple of weeks' time in Jamaica.
Yeah, and it gives an opportunity, doesn't it? I think it's great that, you know, she's here, she's competing, and, you know, she's a fantastic hurdler. Her time is insane, but I think it's a great opportunity for her. And she, again, looked great in that heat.
Yeah, and obviously we saw Grant Holloway yesterday, and it's the same thing for the women. You've got to get those first few hurdles, and then you're flying.
It's tough. It's getting out of the blocks. It's attacking that first hurdle, and there's such emphasis on making sure you get that first part of the race right because it sets you up for the rest of the race. And then you've got to have that cadence in between every hurdle. You've got to not be distracted by what's happening around you. And often in the hurdles, there are hurdles that get knocked over. There's other things that happen within the race, and it's focusing solely on your race and having that cadence and that speed in between the hurdles, which is really important.
Haven't really, obviously, you know, we've got Cindy, but there's not really been a lot of British women coming through in the hurdles in the last few years.
No, we have been quite thin on the ground, actually, for quite a while, and I'm not sure why that is. It's a shame. It's one of my favourite events, and, you know, it's great to see...
You were world class.
I love
Jess.
the hurdles. I love the hurdles. But, no, it's great to see the likes of someone like Visser. You know, she was a fantastic heptathlete, moving to the hurdles. I'm wondering if we have some great heptathletes who might want to try the hurdles out maybe in the future.
Did you at all toy with the idea when you were looking towards the end of your career thinking, I'll just take it down to hurdles for a while?
It's something that I definitely thought about very strongly, and I suppose if I look back on my career now, there's maybe a slight element of me that thinks, oh, maybe I should have given the hurdles a serious go. But, I mean, it's so competitive. If you look globally, you know, at the hurdles, it is, you know, fiercely competitive, and it would have been a challenge.
Never say never, Jess. You're not even 40 yet.
Can I come back now?
Yeah, we'll let you off. You can go now if you want to start.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, Paula's back doing the marathon, you know, so...
No, not
Old habits
quite
die
at
hard.
elite level. Far from.
OK, well, the semi-finals and final are to come a little later of those 60 hurdles, but there were 2 medals handed out in the early hours of the morning, starting with the women's long jump. And the gold medal went to Claire Bryant of the USA. This is her international senior debut, and the 23-year-old jumped a massive PB of 6 metres 96 to become the new world indoor champion. And afterwards, Sarah Mulkerrins caught up with her.
Well, Claire, can you quite believe you've just become a world indoor champion?
It really hasn't set in yet. I'm like, wait, okay, like when that last jump, my 6th jump was kind of a free jump, like let's just see what happens. I was like, I can't believe this is happening, and I just feel so blessed.
Did you feel you had that jump of 696 within you?
Yes, I knew that was I knew I had that in me. I've just felt so confident coming in. I've really just been excited. You know what I felt like this morning? I felt like it was Christmas morning at 4:45 in the hotel. I was like, I feel like I'm going downstairs to go get some presents, and this is like the best present I could have ever asked for, so.
What a wonderful Christmas morning,
right,
then.
yeah, Merry Christmas, y'all.
And then for you, Claire, this is your first time competing outside of the USA and everything, isn't it?
I've been on some junior teams with Team USA, but this is my first senior team. This is my first world indoors, or any world, so I like my ratio right now. I like my accuracy rate. Like, I'll take this.
I'm sure we will be seeing you lots more in the future. Well done today.
Thank you.
Fantastic. What a great interview. And from a British perspective, it's great to see US-based Femini Alajade also on her senior international debut. Her best effort was 6 metres 41. It left her 10th overall, and she spoke to Sarah afterwards.
Well, Funami, how did you find that then, your first taste of senior international competition?
It was fun to just be out there and compete at a world level, you know.
What do you think you learned from that final?
I learned that I need to really just push and give it 100% every time, because I feel like sometimes when I jumped I was quite nervous. I didn't give it everything. I was quite hesitant.
And in terms of what you wanted to achieve, what you were hoping for yourself, what were you thinking beforehand?
I really wanted to get in the top 8. That was my goal. I came short of my goal, so I'm quite upset about that, but they're still outdoors. So.
You're a young athlete, first senior competition. I'm sure you'll learn loads from this and be able to bring it to the outdoor season and the years ahead.
Yes, I'm very excited to potentially make it to Worlds Outdoors, and I'm really happy that I've made it to my first indoor Worlds. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for chatting to us. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
And in the high jump, a world record holder, Yaroslava Mahuchik, was looking to claim back the world indoor title she lost in Glasgow last year. But it didn't go to plan because a rare failure at 195 left her back in bronze medal position, which meant Australia's Nicola Olysegers successfully defended the high jump title she won in Glasgow last year, clearing 197 to win on countback ahead of her Australian teammate Eleanor Patterson. And afterwards, Nicola spoke to Sarah.
Of course, I'm excited and I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get a medal now, but to press forward and to take home the gold, it really came from a place of, I know I need this platform because I've got a message big enough for it. So yeah, it's been an amazing day, and I think it will sink in more tonight.
And how nice to be able to compete alongside Eleanor to get gold and silver for Australia.
It's amazing. I mean, you look at how much we've gone since like Australia. I don't think we ever had an indoor championship medal, and now with every indoor nationals, indoor world championships has had a medal between us. So she's an amazing athlete, and something that I love is that when we compete together, we bring the best out of each other. There's no like, you know, having it easy. We really, you know, I love my competitors. I think it's a great environment, and even in Australia, I've started to see the next generation come through, and it's beautiful. Like it's something that I know we're going to leave the sport, and it's going to have legacy.
Exciting times ahead. Congratulations today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. No problem.
Yeah, it's great to see that Australian dominance at the moment, or at least indoors they've been getting going. But for Mahuchik, who has been so dominant, a rare slip-up.
Yeah, and it just goes to prove that this is sport. That's why we love it. That's why we get so excited watching these championships, because anything can happen. And when the red-hot favourites, they can still make mistakes and they can still slip up on occasion. So that's why everybody needs to come in and seize those opportunities, as we saw in the long jump.
Yeah, and also, you know, almost in the pole vault. You know, Mondo Duplantis so dominant, and there was a door just slightly open there, wasn't there, for Corellis, but he didn't quite take it. But from that, we just saw that sequence we just saw there. I think the one that sticks out really in terms of a new champion is Claire Bryant. I mean, what enthusiasm. The Christmas Day analogy was just brilliant. You kind of knew what she meant as well, that feeling that you get in the, well, you know, it's that kind of childlike feeling of excitement.
Well, that's what it should be, shouldn't it? That's what it should be. You're reaching the pinnacle of your sport. You're at the World Championships. You should be excited to get out there and see what you can do. And I think she was perhaps not expecting that opportunity at the beginning of this season, and to come in and just to absolutely knock it out of the park and jump a personal best like that is everything she would have wished for.
She said, my ratio is pretty good, 1 from 1 really, in terms of international senior debut. But obviously you get outdoors, the field's going to get a lot stronger. There are women who are regularly pushing over 7 metres these days. You know, it's producing such great competition.
It is. It's a very competitive event at the moment, but I think for her, you know, what an opportunity, like Paula says, to come here, no expectation, not to just win with a, you know, a low jump. It's a really decent jump that could challenge some of the biggest jumps in the world. And, you know, that interview was so, she's hugging everyone here, which is great to see, but I think it's just such an honest interview that she gave, you know, just really being able to, you know, explain how she felt in that moment of, you know, winning, having that analogy of Christmas Day and celebrating the way she did with 1,000 hugs to everyone. I think, you know, what a great way to enter her senior championships.
And also, for any young people watching right now who are enjoying the sport and seeing, you know, that sport brings pressure and it also brings, you know, tension, a bit of stress sometimes. Actually, it is joyful. That's why you start out in the very beginning, isn't it? Doing sport?
I think that's the most important thing, isn't it? You have to be able to enjoy your sport, and I think a lot of the time you get lost in sport with the pressure, and I think that really brings it home that actually, you know, that pleasure, that enjoyment is something that can propel you onto some really great performances.
Because actually everybody out there is lucky they're getting to do their hobby as their career, and a little bit of perspective sometimes like that really kind of brings it home to everyone.
Good stuff. OK, well, it's been a busy few days for all the athletes in Nanjing. But for the man in charge of it all, Lord Sebastian Coe, it's equally been as busy and tough, travelling from the IOC elections in Greece out to China. And earlier on, Sarah Mulcairns caught up with him.
Well, firstly, Seb, here we are in Nanjing. These championships, of course, were due to take place back in 2020.
Yeah.
How pleased are you that they finally got to be here, and what have you made of it all, considering more championships coming to China?
I'm delighted we're here because, look, they were difficult times for everybody, but of course China was in complete lockdown. But I'm really delighted that the Chinese Federation kept faith with the championships and we were able to put them back into the schedule because this is a really good place to be. They're world-class deliverers and they really do put the athletes at the heart of the project.
And so does it bode well then from your perspective for the future championships?
It does, because we've got, this is the first of 4 major Chinese cities that are hosting our events in the lead up to the World Championships at the centrepiece of our sport. You'll be there, 2027 in Beijing.
Well, we certainly hope so. It's obviously been a very busy week for you. You were in Greece.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit. You were in Greece for the IOC election. You've had a few days now. What's your reflection on missing out on that?
Oh, no, you can't take these things personally. Look, I was a Member of Parliament, a government minister for a short period of time. Elections are not exact sciences. I put forward the vision I had, and actually it's the vision that we have consistently delivered on in World Athletics. So things I believe passionately in, protecting female sport, making sure that our anti-doping programs are as solid as they possibly can be, and you put your best foot forward.
Do you have any inkling why you feel maybe the IOC and the members weren't quite ready for that vision?
I have, look, again, I haven't really sat there dissecting it. I'm just delighted to be back in sport and working with people that have got a passion and a vision.
Obviously, you've 18 months left as head of World Athletics.
A little bit longer.
Yeah. What would you like your legacy to be?
Oh, look, I don't think in those terms either. I think the sport has made amazing progress over the last 10 years. We have an athletics integrity unit that is gold standard and really makes sure that the integrity of the sport is absolutely sacrosanct. We've got more athletes in more disciplines, in more parts of the world competing at the highest level. We've got more people watching the sport than ever before. We've raised, our revenues have increased by over 25% in the last 4 years. And we continue to do everything we can to protect women's sport. Those are things that are sacrosanct, and we will continue to drive forward on them.
And for you finally then, what do you want your future to be?
Oh, I don't think in those terms. I've got 2.5 years of, real, foot to the pedal. We want to continue to grow the footprint of the sport. And more critically, we want more young people looking at athletics as a way of fashioning their future.
Brilliant stuff. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lord Sebastian Coe, of course, flown in from those elections in Greece and obviously disappointed. He's a winner, and he's always kind of gone for those positions and wants change and wants to, and obviously had presented change that perhaps was too radical for the IOC. I mean, the Conservative option was chosen in the end in Kirsty Coventry, and by some way as well. It didn't even go to a second round of voting, and she was perceived to be Thomas Bach's woman and the person that he was backing, although he couldn't say that publicly. I think Seb's just a bit too radical for the IOC.
I certainly think he asked some difficult questions, wasn't afraid to ask those questions, wasn't afraid to meet the issues head on, as we saw in Paris last year with the boxing situation there. He wasn't afraid to go out on a limb, if you like, against the IOC and criticise them. And that is never going to be the most political way to... It's a good way to win support, but it's not the way to win the election. So, yeah, undoubtedly he will be bitterly disappointed to have not at least gone to further rounds as well, and that maybe more people just didn't get behind him in that Olympic movement.
Yeah, and potentially also paying athletes, which he did for the very first time in Paris. Was that something that didn't go down well with the IOC? Because he didn't ask Thomas Bach's opinion on that.
Yeah, that would be why it didn't go down. I don't think the actual issue itself would not garner him support. But the way that he did it, yes, was a way that we can make our own decisions. We don't need to ask the IOC's opinion in this. We don't need to ask your permission, and that's not something that Thomas Bach likes.
No, and it does look like an organisation that kind of wants the status quo to keep being the status quo, whereas Seb Coe has shown us in the past, hasn't he, with various things that he's done in his sporting and his professional life, that he's prepared to push boundaries.
Yeah, and he spoke then, it's about the next generation of the sport. It's about keeping the excitement, the passion and the love for the sport, the legacy of it. And I think that's what his vision's always been. And, I'm sure when he reflects on it, and he said he obviously hasn't had time to do that yet, he'll be bitterly disappointed. And, he's lived and breathed the sport for such a long time through his years of competing. Also, everything he did with the Olympics, bringing the Olympics to London and the legacy there, it is a tough, pill to swallow. But I'm sure, he's got another 2.5 years with us, and he will, create positive change there, which is really great for our sport.
Do you think this will exacerbate and kind of speed up some revolution in athletics? He's got 2.5 years left to focus just on athletics, and he'll want to leave some real lasting change.
Well, I think he already has done that, and I think that actually, if you look at it, it came into a corrupt World Athletics. And he basically rewrote it, took his time remodelling it, and now we have a sport that listens to the athletes, obviously not all the time, but the majority of the time, puts them first and foremost. And it's a sport where the athletes are really behind the leadership moving forward. And that, in honesty, is not really what's happening at the IOC. So perhaps also reflects a little bit of fear there. Had he gone in, would he have done the same thing there? And I think when he looks back at it, he can already be proud of what he's done with World Athletics. But yes, there's always more to do moving forward. There's more to do putting the athletes first and foremost and centering that sport around them and making sure that they can earn a good living from it and be really well supported and just concentrate on getting out there and performing.
Earning a living from it, obviously Grand Slam starts this year and the calendar starts to get a little bit more truncated, doesn't it? And athletes making choices. Managing that, it could be very positive and brilliant, but managing that is going to be one of his key jobs really over the next
years. And I
years.
think it's going to be tricky this first year. It's, we're all trying to get our heads around how it's going to work, the scheduling, the coaches, the race directors. It's going to be a different year, but I think once it's embedded, and we're very aware of how the system's going to work with fitting all the different events into the schedule, I think it's fantastic. I think it's so many more opportunities for us to see great athletes competing against other great athletes globally, and a lot of touch points throughout the year where we can really get behind the athletes and, bring in a new audience of supporters. So I think,
and then next year, there's the Ultimate Championship in Budapest in September, which is a World Athletics event, which sounds like a very exciting concept, to the top 8 of each discipline.
Exactly. So we're bringing in many more opportunities for the athletes to get out and perform. And Jess makes a really good point in new areas as well. So the first one of Grand Slam will be out in Jamaica. They're not used to hosting major events, their own trials, yes, and getting behind their athletes hugely successful on the world stage, but hosting those events as well opens that up to so many youngsters coming into the sport who see that inspiration firsthand.
I can't imagine a sporting landscape without Lord Sebastian Coe in a really important job, though, in 2.5 years' time. I just don't see him wandering off, getting his pipe and slippers and sitting back watching sport all day long, do you?
No, but I think a big part of the team that he's brought in will continue to work with that moving forward.
Of course, there's just over the road Old Trafford here near Salford. He's involved in the redevelopment of that, isn't he? But that's for another day, Paula, and I won't ask you to disseminate that, nor you, Jess. But it's great to hear from Lord Coe there, and of course, we're all about the action here, and that's about to get underway in Nanjing. So, semi-finals of the women's 60-metre hurdles, first on track. Let's head out there and join your commentators, Andrew Cotter, Steve Backley, Colin Jackson, and good morning, Steve Cram.
Good morning, Gabby. Good morning, everybody. And talking about a star of athletics, this is a star of Chinese athletics, as much for, I think, her social media activity, and why not? Wu Yanyi will be next to one of the favourites to go through here. Only top 2 into the final later this evening. For them, Skarszowska of Poland looked very good in qualification. The American Amber Hughes was second in her heat, outside 8 seconds. Will need to be a lot quicker here. Same for Sarah Lavin, ran brilliantly at the European Indoor Championships. where she just missed out on a medal in a very high quality race. 4th place there. Talking about Grand Slam, this event will have Kira Nugent, the women's 60-metre hurdles. I think a lot of the world's top stars going in that, and she knows that she will have to be at her very best if she's to get a medal here. I think she'll be okay going through, based on how we saw her this morning. Same coach, incidentally, I think she has as Amber Anning at Arkansas. Aholu of Canada will be on the outside, and we saw Harala of Finland. So top 2, and there will be 2 spots available for the 2 non-automatic qualifiers from the 3 semi-finals, as usual. So Skorshowska normally gets out very quickly. Nugent as well. Great exponent of 60-metre hurdles, as you need to be at this level. So will they go much quicker than this morning? Skorshowska probably gets the best start of the 2 of them. Nugent just clips that first one. The 2 of them are pulling away from everyone else, as expected. Oh, and what's happened to Nugent? Hit the last hurdle, but she's okay. Skorshowska's winning time, 7:78. And we saw that, didn't we, with Szymanski in the men's event. He didn't get through to the final. He hit the last hurdle with his trail leg. Collins, the trail leg expert. But you don't normally see the likes of Nugent doing that. I thought she might have clipped the first one as well, Colin. Not sure, there's always a lot happening. But she's through, but just by 100th of a second.
She'd be absolutely enraged with that performance. You know, she got out reasonably well. She didn't clip the first hurdle. I think it was the person next to her who did that. But what Nugent did there, when she started to chase, instead of just relax herself, potentially not thinking that the speed was there, 7.79s. Maybe she's thinking the race itself was a bit slower. So she started to charge at it, Steve, and that's what caught her out.
Yeah, just to say, Colin, Wu has broken the Chinese, her own national record by a decent chunk, 400s, hence her plaudits, and loving the fact she's got half a chance. I mean, you wouldn't think 8:01 will be quick enough, but we've got so many good athletes to come. But well done to her, new national record. We haven't had too many in these championships.
No, so it's nice to see, especially for the home crowd. Oscar there, the pole. Out of the blocks very well. And look at Nugent there, the Jamaican. Looks really comfortable, doesn't she? But she comes off this hurdle really badly. She smashes into it with her lead leg. Didn't elevate it enough. And the pace that she's moving, of course, that's going to cause a little bit of problem for her. But I think she was very fortunate to make that through.
Do you know, also, Colin, I mean, I don't think the last time I can remember, I've seen people smash hurdles, but like for the top bar, should we call it, to come loose, she was lucky it didn't trip her up.
Well, you can see she was really skipping, wasn't she, to try and make sure that the upright didn't really cause too much damage for her. But, you know, men's and women's high hurdles are a completely different events. You know, it's only the name of the hurdles that makes it really corresponding. But there you can see there's a lot of clatter in there. She's just sneaking over there. And you can see it was all over the place, wasn't it? Sarah Lavin had to make a little bit of an adjustment.
So,
wow.
Did you see the third hurdle, or second hurdle? She kicked through that one as well. Are these the weakest hurdles? Normally you'd see, if you hit it that hard.
Yeah, the women actually cleared the barrier much faster than the men. And because of that, I guess as well, maybe we need to check the weight on the barrier in that sense to make sure it's accurate. They're doing a lot of changing it over now. But sometimes the way that you clear the barrier can cause that, you know, so it's not so unusual in women's high hurdling when you are moving at that dap.
It'd be interesting. I know we're about to meet the long jumpers. If Sarah Lavin had been slightly closer, then that would have been, she would have been in trouble, but also she would probably have been put through because that barrier came right into her lane.
Well, 2 final field events to be concluded in this last session of these World Indoor Championships. Miltiades Tentoglou, the World Indoor Champion from Greece, twice Olympic champion, gets to go first. This is the order that they will take their first efforts. They'll be re-ranked after 3 and expect Tentoglou to be right in there. He's had flu, mind, and he missed those European Indoor Championships. Good to see him back. Watch out for this young man, though. Second a year ago at the World Indoor Championships, just 20 years of age, Furlani of Italy. World champion from 2019, Tajay Gale. And, well, the multi-eventer choosing to dedicate his energy in this long jump final. Whilst that heptathlon concludes, he's not part of that on this occasion, but world-class long jumper, jumped 8:20 en route to silver at the European Indoors 2 weeks ago. Wayne Pinnock, well, would-be world and Olympic champion if it wasn't for Miltiades Tentoglou. In fact, the top 4 from Paris all involved world-class final. Balde, 4th at those European Indoors. Adcock, the Oceania champion. 13 athletes. Will Williams, twice a US champion. Xua of China. So, twice Chinese champion precedes the Japanese athlete, 27-year-old, 4 times Japanese champion Hibiki Xua. So, just 3 more athletes, 2 more to be, in fact, to be introduced. Crump of the USA. Izumaya, 5th at the World Championships in 2023. So lots of experience in this field. And the final athlete will have to wait a little while to get his first attempts as Chesil Johnson, the African champion. No marks for him yet this year, so kept his powder dry, and all athletes introduced. All athletes will receive 3 attempts. The top 10 only will be advanced to the 4th round. Will then lose another 2, and only 6 will make it to that final round. Simon E. Hammer. Wonder how his legs are after that battle he had with Sander Schottheim in the heptathlon, the European Indoors. Schottheim en route to the title in that heptathlon, with 1,000 meters to finish that event in this session. So what a chance here then for Miltiades Tentoglou of Greece. Off the back of a cold, a flu, and sidelined. So a bit of an unknown quantity. Hasn't been fantastically brilliant yet this year. Maybe he's saved himself for these World Indoor Championships. First attempt then for the double Olympic champion. It's shy of 8 meters. That's the mark as a minimum for these, well, the best in the world. It's really stacked competition, and Tentoglou, a very modest start for him.
You've mentioned that he's unknown, Steve, but of course a lot of them will know that he's more than capable of delivering when it really matters. And just a nice little sight of this. 781, we can expect a lot more from him still, even after illness.
Yeah, 781, not a great start. Man who second to Duplantis as the field eventer of the year last year. He's been super dominant. He stood strong in Paris to take gold. Furlani, watch out for this wonder kid. I say wonder kid, 20 years of age now. Was brilliant last year, 3 big medals. Olympic bronze, probably most notably. World leader with 8 meters 37. The 20-year-old Italian takes his first attempt. That's fast and it's long, but it's red. Won't be measured. Went for it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. It was lovely on the runway, I must admit. I was watching it very close, and he's so rhythmical. Brilliant. Talking about rhythm, Andrew.
Yeah, required here in the hurdles, and Devon Charlton certainly requires not just rhythm, but the speed that has been lacking for the defending champion. It's interesting, the contrast in the events here at these World Indoors. Some very poor events and some very strong events. The men's long jump is very strong. I think once you get to this stage in the women's 60 hurdles, it's very, very strong indeed. Mia Wild of Croatia. Croatia have a couple of good 18-year-olds. Wild and Jana Košak, who finished 9th here in the pentathlon. There's Asia Lorentzen of St. Lucia. So Devon Charlton, silver in 2022, gold last year, but on her showing so far this season and here in the first round, it's a stretch to see her defending her title, really. Not at her best at all. However, Nadine Visser, 5th and 4th at the last 2 Olympic Games, twice European indoor champion. Not this year, lost out to Ditaji Kambunji, but she is in great form. Amoy Brown won the Jamaican World Indoor Trial, but that was in the absence of Akira Nugent. Hasn't gone below 8 seconds yet, Brown. Christina Clemens, 34, won silver in this event in Birmingham in 2018, just ahead of Nadine Visser on that occasion. Yumi Tanaka of Japan goes in lane 7. And Krita Verlin of Estonia makes up the second of the 3 semi-finals in the women's 60 metres hurdles. Well, some drama, certainly for the barriers in the first semi-final. Akira Nugent just making it through ahead of Wu, the Chinese athlete, but that Chinese record, 8:01, might see her through. 2 fastest non-automatic qualifiers, and Wu and the Czech athlete Jiranova with 8:08. I think she's very vulnerable. Wu might make it through to the final. Nadine Visser alongside Amoy Brown, but on Visser's inside. Devon Charlton, the defending champion, can she find some of her best form again? Away they go. Look at the start for Devon Charlton there, and the work that Visser has to do, but now she's reeling in Devon Charlton, and Manning Clemens trying to get there as well. Visser gets it just ahead of Charlton. That's better from Devon Charlton. So Visser comes through to take that win, and the Chinese crowd looking to see if Wu will hang on with that 0-1. There's a bit of a gap back from the first 2 to the third athlete there, so I think she might be. That's encouraging for Devon Charlton, because Colin, we watched her in the first round and she was running full out, and it wasn't that quick, but that's so much better.
Yeah, she was very accurate that time. Charlton, it was nice to see. Of course, as the defending champion, you want to see him get through to that final and be still very competitive. So she's arriving here, obviously, better than she's produced this season, with that season's best of 7:82.
Clemens and Brown will go into the 2 fastest non-automatic qualifiers, so Wu is out. As Steve was just pointing out, Devon Charlton was out so quickly, she was almost on that first hurdle, hit it. I mean, left Visser for dead at the start, but sometimes, look at this start from Devon Charlton, but...
Yeah, which is normal. She always gets out very strongly, since she's the world indoor record holder, of course. But, you know, Visser just took her time, didn't she? And I think, which is the complete opposite to Nugent. Nugent stressed herself and pushed, and rushed it. Well, Visser took her time and just hauled her in, keeping technically efficient.
I think the difference between Devon Charlton this year and last year is that she had that start last year, but she maintained that speed throughout. Yeah,
I was watching in between the hurdles, which was always the crucial bit, and she's galloping more this year than she was sprinting in previous years, so maybe that's been the cause of setting her back.
Well, after disappointment in the European Indoor Championships, Leonardo Fabri, the world leader, has a chance to make amends here. The World Indoors, first man to make his mark in the sector, but it's not, you can tell by his response. He's thrown 21.95, and the Italians below 21 meters here. And just a little bit off balance, maybe, Fabri. And that was a chance to really put it out there in what is a very high-class field, 20.67. The rest have to follow that. Teammate of Fabri, Zane Weir, the European indoor champion from 2023. So winds it up at the back of the circle. Big shout for him, and it's on that, or just shy of that 21-meter line. So a bit of tension at the start for the Italians. 20.67 for Fabri in this first round. The leading effort. Just behind him then, his teammate by 4 centimeters, but expect those distances to be surpassed. That will rocket him up into that 1-2 attack for Italy. Fabri and Weir. Right then, Tom Walsh, twice an indoor world champion, a 2 times Commonwealth champion, also a world outdoor champion from 2017, the Kiwi. Off the back of his summer preparation. Oh, that's fast, that's good, that's better, look at that. Tom Walsh. Very good indeed, no marks yet this year indoors, and well, jumps, gets his base down really well there, and the sequence up into that shot was perfection, as it often is for Tom Walsh, multi-medalist on a global stage, twice a champion, and does go into the lead here, 21.65, and that is some lead, almost a metre ahead of the Italians.
On track, the last of the semi-finals in the women's 60 metres hurdles.
Well, 2 athletes who performed superbly this morning in the 60 hurdles are in the same heat again together, Grace Stark and Denisha Cartwright. And then you throw into the mix the new European champion, Ditajì Kambundji, and you realise this is a hard semi-final, only the top 2. So if they're not to finish in the top 2, any of these athletes, but particularly those 3, you'd assume they'll be able to run quick enough. 7.93 Clemens and Brown, 93.96 best placed at the moment. Anyway, Cartwright, father was apparently a very well-known volleyball player and coach. Grace Stark was the reason I'm just pausing, I was just looking at some stats from that that second race there, talking about fast starts, and Grace Stark can start very quickly as well, as indeed Kambundji showed us at the European Indoors, the new world leader, just 100th off the world record there. Just for comparison to that first hurdle, Andy was making the point, the first 5 metres, we get stats of the first 5 metres now, and Devon Charlton took 0.06 of a second from Visser in the first 5 metres. Lost it during the race, but that's a big margin in 5 metres. So let's watch for this here. Start could be crucial for the 3 big names. I think the thing to do here, though, is not panic, because you'd assume, based on what we saw this morning, that all 3 of them would be able to make that, or get a small queue if not in the top 2. But you want to win, you want to dominate, you want to carry that momentum into the final. And Kambundji, don't forget, her sister won the 60-metre flat. Grace Stark, Michigan athlete, 7.73 in the heats, new personal best. Cartwright absolutely bursts out of the blocks and is leading, but hits that hurdle, and now Stark comes, and Kambundji. Stark takes it from Kambundji. Well, Cartwright was miles back because she started so fast, flew at that first barrier, and then was all over the place. Stark, another personal best, 7.72, takes it down 100th. Kambundji continues to impress, and Cartwright not quick enough.
You know, one of these things, Steve, we mentioned earlier on in the qualifying rounds, all Cartwright needed to do was just repeat, not push any more, just repeat what she did in the heat, and it would have been enough comfortably to see her through to the final. She'd be frustrated and irritated because you don't have these chances all the time in your life. But Stark in complete contrast, didn't she? She got out the blocks so sharply as well. Kambundji, all of them competed to that line. It was a good race. It was a good, solid race. Is it a sign for us what potentially could happen in the final? Well, let's wait and see, because I still believe that they're going to raise their game a little bit more. Nugent as well had a disaster, but she's through. So there's people here that can have that 7-7 mark in their mind.
Well, you know, Nugent almost went out. Cartwright has gone out. But we do have, you would have said beforehand, Stark, Kambundji, Nugent, Visser, and Charlton now back in the frame.
Yeah, it's going to be good. But watch Bohemian there. She just charged out the blocks, and you cannot just leg it out the blocks and think everything's going to be all right. You've got to have that sense of where I am in the race, what I'm going to do, am I in the right position? Even when you're super quick to the first hurdle, practice makes perfect, and when you're a good starter, you've got to work on it. Use it to your advantage. Kambundji, of course, and Stark, well, they will go into that final. They will do battle again.
Well, all of that will also mean we will have 3 Americans in the final, based on the fact that the other 2 were sitting in the... Actually, no, Brown wasn't it? Clemens and Stark make it through. So Jamaica will have 2, America will have 2, and then you add in Visa Skrzydowska, forgot to mention her. The top 6 are all there, which is going to make it an exciting final, exactly what we want.
Wayne Pinnock of Jamaica, Olympic silver medalist. First attempt and a season opener, unknown quantity. First attempt is a long one, it's over 8 meters for the Jamaican, and yeah, season opener, as I say, so nothing, no real form to go off to gauge his potential. AI did a job on it, said 20.9% chance of a win on the computer system that we have, we're privy to, but based on that, that's not far off what might happen. 8 meters 20 for Pinnock, the best we've seen so far, by some margin as well. So still the first round, and a bit of feedback there from coach via the video analysis, and it's Pinnock and his teammate Gale in the 1-2 spot in the very early stages. Gerson Balde then of Portugal goes in pursuit of 8 meters 20. Sounded good on the board, didn't it? 4th at those recent European Indoor Championships, so just missed out on a medal there. And around the 8 meter mark for the Portuguese champion. Good extension off the board as well. Got very tall and good discipline, getting close to that legal limit. 8:03 for Balde. Well, still early days, but does go up into second place, just still in this first round, with a handful of athletes still to make their mark, and the likes of Fulani, Hammer, both on a foul in the first round. Liam Adcock of Australia, the Oceania champion from last year. Never jumped indoors, and no marks to his name indoors, but has opened his campaign very well. How about that for his first effort? Green flag for the Australian denotes a valid jump, and that's going to be an extension of the lead, possibly. That Pinnock of Jamaica's 8:20 under threat here. What a way to start your indoor campaign. Adcock, 8:28. We have a new leader. Very tidy. Good running, good positions, good balance and poise. That we talk about the plumb bob down through the body. That's exactly what you saw there as we go back across the other side of the arena, where Tom Walsh's lead of 21 meters 65 is a high standard. Leonardo Fabri of Italy goes after it, and that just seemed to slip from his grasp at the final stages of release there for the Italian, and may improve on his opener of 2067, was it? Opener. It's about the same kind of distance, so just sense that Fabri is forcing it slight, just trying too hard, possibly. 2069, a slight improvement for the world leader. Roger Steen then missed out on the Paris Olympics because of the quality in American throwing, in the shot put in particular. They took 1, 2 and 4 at the Olympic Games, so he could have been involved if he'd made the team. He didn't, but he's in contention here. Just below that 21-meter line, which only Tom Walsh of New Zealand has gone beyond so far. in this second round. Steen's 20.80. So that goes ahead of Fabri of Italy, and the battle commences. The big men locking horns, and Steen goes up the leaderboard and pushes the two Italians back a slot. Back across to the long jump. Miltiades Tentoglou then. Sub 8 meters, surprisingly, in the first attempt. Second attempt. Ooh, okay, just around 8 meters. He's not got the zip and pop that we've seen him have in the past, Colin.
Yeah, I think you're right there. It's that speed, isn't it, that he's just lacking on the runway. Still gets good elevation because he's technically sound. You know, that's been honed year after year after year. But it's just that magic little zip that we were so used to seeing. And maybe the illness, Steve, has really got him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he can do about that. I mean, it's good rhythm onto the board. I mean, if he's lacking basic speed through physicality, then you can't really fight your way out of that. Sub 8 meters for Tentoglou.
Well, getting ready for a little bit of discomfort for the men in the heptathlon. It's only 1,000 meters as opposed to the 1,500 meters in the decathlon. Things are pretty much set in terms of the medals. Sander Skotheim out in front, ahead of Johannes Herrmann and Till Steinforth. And so these were 3 of the top 4 at the European indoors. So converting that to the world indoors, and Steve Backley's been watching this throughout. And again, the margins between those 3 are such that with their times, their best times in 1,000 meters, unlikely to be closed or switched around.
Yeah, unfortunately for
drama,
for the drama of the event unfolding as we're so used to seeing in the multi-events. But yeah, it looks like a rerun of the European indoors without a hammer. He's across, taking part in that individual long jump, and Sander Skotheim looks like he's got a lead that cannot be closed down.
Yeah, just look at a couple of things I might look out for. So we'll see as we go down to meet the major contenders. So you've got, at the moment, Till Steinforth of Germany. Should be Germany's first medal, actually, at these championships as well. So something there. He's a sprinter, Steinforth. He's not a great 1,000-meter runner. And for quite a few of the decathletes, it's about short, explosive power. So running 1,000 meters or running 1,500 in decathlon, that's why it looks so difficult. But they'll still be running about 2:30, well, 2:40-ish for a kilometer, which is certainly not slouching by any means. Johannes Herm of Estonia in the silver medal position. There's Sander Skotheim. It all went wrong for Skotheim in the Olympics in the pole vault, where he no-heighted, and Markus Ruth, compatriot, went on to take the title. But Skotheim here, the European indoor champion, should become the world champion shortly. And Johannes Herm, who just missed out in the medals at the European indoors, he was 4th behind Till Steinforth, but he should finish ahead of the German here. Oh, yeah, goodness me, Johannes Herm nearly shoved Sander Skotheim off the track there. That's one way of doing it. Say, I can't beat you in any other way. So Skotheim was okay, and he'll settle into the middle. And again, sometimes it looks like these big athletes are loping round, but they are still going at a fair lick, and this is hard work.
Yeah, especially when the multi-eventers, the major emphasis on power, speed, explosion, the different end of the energy scale from endurance or speed endurance, and yeah, that's why it is going to hurt the most. But hats off to Johannes Herm there, just slotting into second place following Straski, because he was a little out of sorts of those European indoors, and seems as though he's brought a much better level of performance here to these World Indoor Championships. And Sander Skotheim just locked in on the back of the man who sits in second place, Herm of Estonia. It looks as though the Norwegian's fully in control here and set fair to take a World Indoor title to add to that European Indoor title if nothing crazy happens, and he's just staying out of trouble and just tracking his opposition.
And that's why, if you are the athlete who is out in front and you know that actually you're a quicker 1,000 meter, all he has to do is sit in the back of Johannes Herm. Johannes Herm would have to beat Sander Skotheim by 4.5 seconds here, and Skotheim actually has a quicker PB in the 1,000 meters. So he'll just sit behind the big Estonian and have a nice little run around.
Yeah, it's around 10 or 11 points per second in this 1,000 metres, and when you've got a lead of 52 points, as Skottheim has over the two men in picture there, all he's got to do is track his stride, stay in contact, follow his rhythm, and take a ride.
And you can't see Till Steinforth in the picture, the German. There he is back there in that that second group. So he is, what, ahead of Heath Baldwin. Heath Baldwin's 128 points, or 12 seconds behind Steinforth. So, oh my goodness me, and Skottheim and Erm coming together there. And look at Johannes Erm there trying to hold the lead. Skottheim. Johannes Erm says, you may win the overall goal, but I'm going to win this event. I'm going to give it everything here. And Skottheim just feared for him there, because going down, that would have been the end of his challenge. Johannes Erm is giving everything here to try and eke out 4.5 seconds. Not going to happen, but Johannes Erm is going to take the victory in this 1,000 metres. And Skottheim is starting to flag, but Sander Skottheim will take the gold. Johannes Erm will take the silver, and then we'll see Till Steinforth coming through eventually. Oh my goodness, Heath Baldwin there. Well, it's not going to be 12 seconds of a gap, obviously. Till Steinforth, a very tired, sprinting multi-eventer, comes across the line to take that bronze medal.
Hat off to Sander Skottheim, another championship gold ahead of this man who tried everything he could. The tap tackle at the start and the shoulder barge in at the bell, neither able to stop Skottheim from taking gold, but he did everything he could, and very well thought out couple of days' work. Skottheim, though, he can have a nice rest after 2 gold medals in the last couple of weeks. Looks tired.
Yeah, European indoor champion, world indoor champion. And you think of the crop of athletes that Norway has. By population, a small country. You know, they got the Olympic champion in Marcus Ruth. They've got the world indoor champion in Sander Skottheim. They've got Jakob Ingebrigtsen, Karsten Warholm. It's a rich crop of young talent. Till Steinforth, we know about Germany's pedigree in the multi-eventing, and Steinforth, well, he was bronze medalist at the European indoors, and he's bronze medalist at the world indoors. And there's the effort of multi-eventing. It's very nearly Johannes Erm sending him off the track, but we'll just confirm those results. But it will be Skottheim and Erm and Till Steinforth. Those are the medalists.
So the denouement there of the heptathlon producing a pretty aggressive final couple of laps, Jess.
It was, yeah. I've not seen that in the heptathlon or decathlon before. They were really battling, weren't they, around that bend? And I don't think it was going to make that much difference to the end.
He was going to give it a go, though, wasn't he?
But yeah, I suppose it's a thing of confidence, isn't it? Just to say I'm ended on a high, and I want to, finish this final event ahead of you. But I don't know if we can see here, there's just a bit of pushing and shoving, and they're really both fighting to have that position.
It's 4 seconds or so he needed.
Yeah, it was always going to be a little bit too much for him to take 4 seconds out of Skottheim, but a fantastic run, a fantastic performance by Skottheim, able to win the European indoors, win the world indoors here, off the back of a really disappointing Olympics last year where he wasn't able to finish. I think he's had a fantastic start to this indoor season.
And really good competition in both the multi-events over the last couple of days.
Yeah, and I think it's always exciting when you're watching it and it comes down to that close, and you can just see the determination and the energy that Skottheim was pouring into that, and that's why he was struggling to kind of cope with a little bit of a push there, because he was already on exhausted legs, and at the end you can see he was giving absolutely everything, and that's a quick time.
Yeah, well, we haven't seen much of Katarina Johnson-Thompson indoors this season. She, in the past, has enjoyed success indoors, and she's used these competitions, hasn't she, over the winter to get herself ready for the summer. Do you think this is all about managing her body, and as you get a bit older and you've got a lot more competitions in the legs and in the body, it's important to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think at this stage of her career, she's had such fantastic success and she wants to continue competing, which is brilliant for us. You've got to really manage the quality of training, the type of training that you do and the competitions that you do, because the heptathlon is a tough event on the body and management is key. So I think that's probably the reason that she's saving herself for the outdoor season.
OK, it is almost time for this man.
1, 2, 3, 4, watch me work it, I'm perfect.
Ingebrigtsen looks as though he's just waiting. He's hovering. He's biding his time.
He is the number one.
Watch me work it, I'm perfect.
It's Ingebrigtsen's gold by a country mile.
It's going to be Ingebrigtsen's gold again. Made it look so easy.
Kingebrigtsen, I read him described as yesterday. Indeed, he is. He is the master of whatever he wants to kind of enter himself into, isn't he? And this is a really impressive double that he's going for here. Only Haile Gebrselassie has done it before in terms of indoors winning.
Yeah, and it was impressive from Haile because it was right at the other end of his spectrum as well as a 5:10. 1,000-metre runner normally. But I think the thing that's most probably surprising is the fact that he doesn't yet have this title. And it's really, really important for him to get out there and do that. We saw a really exciting race in the 3,000 metres yesterday where Aragawi kind of did push it and take it to him and tried everything to try and beat him. And he said afterwards he had to work hard for that. So it will be telling to see how much that's taken out of him for the 1,500 metres. But I think there's a really exciting race being set up, and will he run it differently to the manner that he ran in Appledore?
As much as you can observe from a distance and from what you hear, what is it that motivates him the most? Is it the legacy of winning titles? Is it times? What is it for him?
I think he's just the ultimate competitor, and he likes to put himself on the line. He loves to be kind of coming in with that pressure on him to come up against people. So as I said yesterday, I think he would have been disappointed not to have the new world record holder indoors, Grant Fisher, racing him, because I think he would have liked that, these championships. And it's important to him to get those gold medals, to put himself on the line and to really kind of show. He loves to train hard, but he loves to be in shape to race hard, and I think that's the most exciting thing about watching him.
There he is, getting his snow squirrel and his gold, more importantly, for the 3,000 metres. I'm sure he's got a fine collection of cuddly toys over the years, Jess. And we're going to see him going in a moment in that 1,500 metres. But Great Britain's Neil Gourley, team captain, is there as well. And, you know, we saw George Mills push him hard in the European indoors. Give your assessment of Neil's season so far from what you've seen.
I think he's had a great season so far. I think he puts himself into the races with a huge amount of confidence. You know, there's no element of him backing off or changing his tactics to suit anyone else. He's always putting himself in the best position possible. I think with him being the captain as well, it's fantastic. You know, he wants to go out there and, you know, potentially get on the podium to set an example to the rest of the team as well. And, you know, I think he spoke about in his speech about making it like this is your only week that matters. You know, go out there and just give it absolutely everything, and I'm sure he will today.
Fastest qualifier getting through to this. Do we read anything into that? He knows he can put a good time out there. What kind of race would he like? What would suit him?
I think he wants a race that is not similar to the race that he had at the European indoors. So whether that will materialise from this is difficult, because Neil doesn't want to be at the front setting the pace, but he obviously benefits from it being not super fast, but quick enough to kind of string it out that then he can utilise his finish from. He's very good at putting himself in the right position in races like that. When it goes too slow and there's too much chopping and changing of pace, then it's a little bit trickier for him. So yeah, I think we get the right race for Neil, then he's absolutely coming in there a little bit under the radar, but certainly equipped to maybe come out with a medal.
And does it make a difference indoors to outdoors in terms of, you know, whether you decide to set that pace yourself, with it being obviously, you know, a quicker turn of the laps?
I think it's more that, I mean, honestly, I didn't really race that much indoors, but I think it's more in terms of not making those mistakes, because it is that tighter circuit. You've got to make the moves quickly and be able to try and slot in before the bends. That was a big issue in Appledore. Less important here because that bend is slightly less aggressive, but still, usually you've got one or two big moves, pretty much the same as outdoors, and you've got to kind of make those at the right time, but it is more crucial to be in the right position.
It is going to be one of the great events of the season, the 1,500 metre men's. Such a rich crop of talent globally, but also for Great Britain, you've got Kerr coming back into this. Jake Whiteman has now left his dad, hasn't he, in terms of his coaching setup, and got a new coaching setup, so he'll be hoping he can kind of get back to the very best that saw him win a world title as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where we waited for such a long time to kind of rediscover that blue ribbon event and the strength and depth that we have, and now we have that. And globally, as you say, it's really coming alive. What Cole Hocker did last year, and you've got Ingebrigtsen and the domination there, and the storyline behind it, I think, is what's drawing people into it. And the guys are all getting out there, and other people sitting back in the USA or here or in Norway are thinking, well, if they can do it, then why can't we?
Yeah, pushing each other. That rich competition produces such a captivating event, doesn't it?
It does. It brings out a different level of performances. And like Paula says, you see those athletes like dotting up all around the world. They're not just concentrated in one area. And I think for us, from a GB perspective as well, having so many athletes that are at that level, pushing each other domestically and globally, it just creates an amazing rivalry. But yeah, it pushes the sport forward, definitely.
Yeah, and Jakob Ingebrigtsen is certainly at the forefront of that in terms of somebody that everybody wants to compete against and wants to be around, because you know when he is in an athletics arena, the eyeballs will be on your race. He draws in the crowds. He'll be doing that again in Nanjing in just a few moments' time. He'll be looking to write another chapter of athletics history. And Paula, in a moment, you'll go off and commentate on that for us. We've got the women coming up as well, so we probably won't see you before back in the studio before the women. So quick word on the women's and Georgia Hunter-Bell and what this would mean to her.
I think it'll mean a huge amount, particularly after the disappointment of Apeldoorn, and it's going to be another exciting race. And like I said, you say it's exciting to watch. It's a privilege to commentate on. OK, grab your heels and get your spikes on, because you've got a couple of minutes to get yourself over to join our commentary team there. But I'll let Steve Cram pick up first.
Yeah, men first, enthralling racing prospect, I think. Going to be really interesting. I can't really see anybody here who'll want to take it out. I mean, Prakelk might, but, you know, he's probably thinking, I'll just hang around. Nada got a medal behind Ingebrigtsen in Apeldoorn. Two very dangerous Spanish athletes here if the pace is slow. Adrian Ben, former 800-metre European indoor champion. Palic, who's at the age of 35, is finding the form of his life, the Austrian. But watch out for Mariano Garcia, another a world indoor champion and another great 800-metre exponent, Pihlström of Sweden. Then Neil Gourley. What a perhaps opportunity for him to get a global medal here in a field which has Ingebrigtsen as ever. Sam Prakel of United States did lead, did take out his heat, made it pretty fast. So what's he's got in his legs, Ingebrigtsen? Going for this double. He's got the goal that he wanted, the world indoors. And Luke Hauser from the same camp as Josh Kerr, representing the USA. What I love about it, Paula was touching on it, you know, Ingebrigtsen he just commands respect for me for his ability, but also the fact he comes to these championships. He wants to win as many. He said, I want to collect gold medals. Is he going to get another one here? I'll now use my microphone. I was using Paula's microphone. Sorry, Paula. And welcome. So, Ingebrigtsen has gone to the back, but, you know, he knows the speed of some of the guys in here, and he was nearly caught out by Aragawi. They don't have that 3,000 in their legs. Well, he'd probably be quite pleased to see this, wouldn't he? A little bit of pace on from Prakel, which he did in the heat, so a repeat there. I wasn't sure if he would do it again, but this won't be a disappointment to the Norwegian.
No, I don't think it will be at all, and it won't be to Neil Gourley either. I think he will be quite happy to see that this is moving along at not a really fast pace, but it's enough to stretch it out, although it does look as though it's starting to bunch up a little bit again now. And I think Ingebrigtsen really relished that race yesterday, didn't he? I think that will have helped him, as well as fatiguing him a little bit. It will have just spurred him on that little bit, that he was able to still come out on top and come into this one.
Yeah, 62 is not that quick, but it's better than jogging, isn't it? So Nada looking to see where the big man is. He's not far behind. Neil Gourley tracking him. Garcia noticed, decided to just run behind and follow when Ingebrigtsen makes his move, which he will. And remember, we talked about upsetting his rhythm, upsetting his plan. How about getting to the front before him? Well, he's decided he's taking closer order, and Neil Gourley and Garcia sticking to him like glue, and Garcia said, no, that's my spot right behind him, but Neil Gourley's done a good job there. And Ingebrigtsen now picks it up. It won't be super fast to begin with. He'll just keep winding it up, control it from the front. He often goes slow first, which he's done there, hence all the pushing.
Yeah, I think it's all okay. Everybody managed to stay on their feet there. It was a little bit Hauser just putting his hand on Nader just to say, no, you can't move out any because I am right there. And they kind of did let him through, but a little bit less of the dictation that we've seen previously. And I think Aragawi helped that a lot yesterday in going out there. And now it's really about them being able to reflect to this plan that's been laid down because they know what's happening from here now.
Yeah, 3 years ago he tried to win this title and was beaten by Teferi in the closing stages, doing something similar, and Palic has moved up unbelievably on his shoulder, as if to take it on. Neil Gourley looking to hold on to Nada. Palic just gets a, excuse me, a little bit of an elbow from Ingebrigtsen to say, no, you don't. And now the race is on here, and they're already pulling well clear. Where are the Spaniards? They are nowhere. 800 metres doesn't give them the strength to go with this. Ingebrigtsen continues to wind it up.
And this is a true 1,500-metre race now, and that's why you don't see the Spaniards being able to hang on in there. That little challenge from Palic looks as though it's now faltering and his legs have almost gone behind.
Neil Gourley looking good, looking strong. The other American, Luke Hauser, unfancied. I remember Jody Beamish last year came from nowhere and won it surprisingly, the New Zealander ahead of Cole Hocker. Are we going to see a surprise here? Because Ingebrigtsen under pressure, 3 behind. Nada can finish, Gourley can finish, Hauser there, and also Pielström getting amongst the mix. Gourley goes for the inside, not sure that's a good move, but he's done well. And Hauser's on the outside. Hauser, the unknown American, and Neil Gourley of Great Britain, but it's Ingebrigtsen out in front. He's going for the double, he's got enough, he's going to do it again. Ingebrigtsen takes his 2nd gold medal, his 2nd world title. Gourley gets the silver, Luke Hauser gets the bronze. Went to the script in the end. Oh, he went to Garcia. Mate, where was your bike? Oh, look, he just wants a bit of that, yeah. Mate, you were in the sidecar. Well done, Neil Gourley. Perfect race. He made that little move, didn't he? You're never quite sure if you're going to run into a wall. But I know what he was thinking there, Paul. He's thinking if Ingebrigtsen's going to go away, so I'm OK just following, slotting in behind him. So he matches Gebre Selassie, taking the 1,500 and 3,000 double at the World Indoors. Yet another world title. A surprise medal for Luke Hauser for the USA. Business as usual. Yeah, Nada let it go. I think he just lost his position, didn't he, and came strong at the end, but missed out. Great job by Neil Gourley.
It was a really, really good run, and we mentioned the fact that he needed a different race to the race in Apeldoorn to be able to put himself in those positions, but he'd also learned the lessons from those Euro Indoors in terms of placing himself well, and you're right, it was a risk trying to pass through on the inside, but when you're banking on one man moving away and leaving clear air ahead, then you want that money to be on somebody like Ingebrigtsen, who's always going to have that strength in the home straight. But Neil Gourley showed some really phenomenal strength himself there as well, in a well-deserved silver medal, just as it's a well-deserved gold for Ingebrigtsen, who doesn't yet have that World Indoor title, didn't yet have that World Indoor title, and does now have the one that he really, really wanted to go with, that 3,000 metres.
I think that's our 2nd GB male 1,500 metre silver medal, and it was another Scott David Strang a long time ago, 1993. Neil Gourley joins him now. We haven't had a lot of success. Of course, Josh Kerr ran the 3,000 in Glasgow, didn't he? Won the gold medal in the longer distance. Look at Ingebrigtsen, he's funny. Do you know what? I said, Paula, that he's rubbed people up the wrong way over the years, you know, and there was a period when he appeared to be a little bit unpopular for all the wrong reasons, just he was so good, I think. Now, you know, with the 1 or 2 exceptions, I think he's incredibly well respected amongst the athletes. And a large part is because he comes and does this.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Comes and takes part.
He's exciting to watch, and he's not afraid to put his reputation on the line, is there? He's not afraid to get out there. He actually relishes getting into those tougher races. He relishes people pushing him to perform that little bit harder. And I think that's why some of it also, I think, gets lost a little bit in translation. It's just his manner. He's not meaning to be demeaning to the other competitors. It's just his way of being excited. And you can see he has the respect of the other runners because they also want to test themselves. They want to be able to get that little bit closer and to push it. And that's why hats off to Palic in that race. He did actually go and try and do that and try and dictate it. He just swiftly got pushed back and learned, OK, not this time.
So another gold medal to Ingebrigtsen, the double at these championships, only been done once before, as I mentioned, by Haile Gebrselassie. Neil Gourley, Britain's second silver medal in this event, and Hauser the bronze.
Meanwhile, the long jump continues, and I gave this young man the big build-up, Falani of Italy, that had a foul in the first round. Was he done? Has he gone safe? Was he gone for it? He's gone for it. He's really gone for it. He's closed in on that lead of Liam Adcock of Australia. 8 meters 28. It's a green light, and Falani, just a minor adjustment coming into the board there.
He made there, but what a jump. Look at that, on the board, exactly where he wanted to be, managed to control it. And for such a young athlete, Steve, he's so mature in this approach in this event, got great balance, and I presume he's been rewarded with a great result.
Yeah, 8 meter 30 does take the lead in this second round.
Falani, like his high-jumping compatriot Tamberi, kind of draws the eye, doesn't he? He's a real character. But speaking of characters, Ingebrigtsen, of course, delivered, but brilliant for Neil Gourley to stick in with that race, which got so exciting the last couple of laps, didn't it?
Oh, he was fantastic. And like Paula said, you know, he didn't get drawn into any of the tactics. He did his own race. And, you know, he sat there at the back comfortably, found his right timings to pick his way through the field, put himself in a really good position, and then he was able to utilise that speed that he has in the last bit. It was fantastic and great for him as a captain as well.
Well, he's put himself in a good position now because he's next to Arcera.
Thanks very much.
Neil, you are here beside us. You have got the flag draped around you. We'll give you a moment, get your breath back. How good does that feel?
That feels really good. A couple of weeks ago came away really disappointed with the European indoor race. And I had a point to prove, not so much to anyone else, but to myself and my team that kind of put in all the work. Like, I'm ready for something bigger. So I'm so glad I came out here, tried to prove that, and yeah, repay all the people that have helped me get here.
Talk us through the race then. You stuck with Ingebrigtsen even when he started off towards the back, and then when he made his move, you were there to make sure, I'm sure, to capitalise.
Yeah, it was a change in tactics today. To some extent, it was a case of, look, if you can't beat him, join him. So it was the case of, look, when he's going to shift up the momentum, I'm going to be right there behind him. And that worked out better today because it meant I fed off of his momentum rather than having to look around and react to whatever he's doing. Felt much better doing it that way. And yeah, I felt in control the whole time. I just left a little bit too much to do in the home straight to catch Jakob, but really pleased with how I competed on the world stage today.
Yeah, finally, how much is that world global silver going to mean for you now going forward?
Oh, it's brilliant. I mean, this time last year, I watched World Indoors because I was injured and, yeah, really injured. I could barely walk at this point last year, and it was in my hometown in Glasgow. So I was thinking about that a lot today, how much I'd, you know, kill to just even line up today. So anything else was a bonus, and I went in with that kind of mentality of, look, yeah, anything's possible today, and yeah, glad I came away with something.
Fantastic stuff. Congratulations. Well done.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Yes, great run by Neil Gourley. I mean, it was always going to be the tallest of tall orders in the 1500 metre final to catch Jakob Ingebrigtsen. The women's 1500 metre final has, not quite as big a star, but certainly probably even a bigger favourite in Gudav Segai there. I think below her, yes, you've got Diribi Welteji, and we'll talk about a few of the other athletes who we haven't had the chance to see there on the start line. Georgia Hunter-Bell is in there. There are a lot who will be contending for the medals, I suspect, behind Gudav Segai, because she is so good, Segai, and so keen to make amends for all the things that went wrong in Paris when she attempted a treble and really struggled in all of them. Had a wretched time at the Paris Olympics. Oh, Georgia Hunter-Bell just something as Heather McLean came out there, so Georgia Hunter-Bell has something to prove as well from the European indoors, so a lot to look for, but Gudav Segai is going to make sure this is quick, and she's straight to the front.
She is straight to the front, and I think the difference between Segai and Ingebrigtsen is that she's done this before and actually got it wrong. She's pushed it and gone too quickly and then paid for that, and the others in the field know that. So that aura that hangs over Ingebrigtsen, where you kind of need to cover every move because you just don't know, isn't quite there so much, and perhaps that's why we're seeing these gaps open up now. It is a risk to sit back when not only Sergei is pushing on, but Volteji is also going with it.
Well, it's a real risk to go with the two Ethiopians, because Segai is away, and Segai is going to win this. If you're brutally honest, frank about it at this early stage, Gudaf Segai is going to win this, and probably by some distance. Derebe Welteji in the silver medal position at the moment, but in Georgia Griffith going with this, you know, she's a high-quality athlete, the Australian, but I think in going with the pace of the two Ethiopians, she's not going to do herself any favours in the long run, and others being a bit more judging things a little bit better. Georgia Hunter-Bell at the front of that third group, just ahead of the Kenyan Susan Ajori Sanders, who's 6th in the Olympic final. So yes, I think the Australian Griffith might suffer.
She might, but it was a quick moment where they had to make that decision. Do I go with the pace or do I leave it? And actually, Steve's just pointing out where Georgia is not a position that she likes to race, because she's in essence leading that pack, and she's front running, and she prefers to sit back and to come back from there. But this is a phenomenal lead at this point to have been built up by Sergei, because Welteji is a world-class athlete, and she has now clearly decided, okay, I'm at the moment running my race and I'm in a race for the silver medal. I'm just going to let Sergei go.
Well, I wonder if she just wants to give a demonstration. A lot of anger from Gudaf Segai after the Olympics, because things went so wrong, and very, very interesting Ethiopian team selections. A lot of frustration from other athletes as well that could have been selected, and Segai, by her own standards, failed in the Olympics. So looking to do this with a demonstration. So now things have changed, and Griffith is still there with Welteji, but Georgia Hunter-Bell has decided, right, okay, I'm going to get into this group and make it a group of 3.
And that is a much better position to be in, with 3 laps to go, 600 metres to go in the race. She latched onto the back of that group, and now it's just that decision: do I sit and wait here, and do I play for a silver medal and hope that maybe somebody might tire ahead, or do I go around and chase Sergei?
Well, Gudaf Segai is just inside her own world record pace. She has the 3 fastest ever indoor times over 1,500 metres, so she's going to win the gold. She's looking to do it with the absolute seal of perhaps a world record. But look at the battle behind for the other medals, because Welteji's there. Georgia Hunter-Bell, for whom things went wrong in the European indoors, and when she came in as the favourite, here she's coming in not as the favourite, different type of pressure, but with something to prove. And Georgia Griffith is still running well and hanging on there.
And a look up at the screen will tell Georgia Bell that the chase group is also closing. Sinclair Johnson at the front of that group, and that's what she doesn't want. She wants to be able to launch her finish from here.
So the bell sounds, and then sounds a good deal later for the rest of the athletes. Look at the gap for Gudaf Segai. That is the gulf in class between this great Ethiopian runner and the rest, and it is her fellow countrywoman Welteji in the silver medal position at the moment. Georgia Hunter-Bell pushing. Georgia Griffith still there. Ajori Sanders of Kenya is not going to get back, but look at this gold medal run for Gudaf Segai. Is it going to be a world record? 3:53.09 is the mark to be just outside it, but she'll take the gold. She's a world indoor champion. Welteji will take the silver. Georgia Hunter-Bell the bronze, just ahead of Georgia Griffith of Australia. Brave effort by Griffith, but not quite enough to get in the medals. But there is something for Georgia Hunter-Bell. She took bronze at the Olympic Games. She has bronze at the World Indoors now as well.
She was also 4th at these championships last year in Glasgow, so to go one step better for Georgia Hunter-Bell and to run a personal best is a really big step forward for her. I'm also just wondering if she's still shy of the British record indoors, which was something that was on her bucket list for this season, but I don't think that will matter to her now. I think that medal was what she wanted from these championships, and a phenomenal display of front running from Sergei.
Yeah, not far away at all. Laura Muir's British record 3:59.58, so 3:59.84 by Georgia Hunter-Bell. Well, that has exercised some of the demons of the European Indoor Championships, because there she has a medal. So it's a bronze to go with the bronze from the Paris Olympics, which would be a more precious bronze, I think, and she would admit that. But that is a big step forward after a little bit of a step back at the European Indoor. She talked about how she had that ear infection, a little bit of illness affected her there, but there to get on the podium here in a very strong event. Again, we've talked about some of the events here being a little bit weaker. The women's 1,500 metres was loaded with talent.
Absolutely, and that title stays with Ethiopia, as it has been, I think, in the last 8 editions. Only Sifan Hassan and Aragawi have got in amongst that stranglehold that Ethiopia hold on this distance, but actually that's our first bronze medal for Great Britain. We do have the silvers through Laura Muir and Kelly Holmes, but that is a bronze medal for Great Britain, and a great, great run from Georgia Hunter-Bell to work her way back onto that pack. You do have to also spare a thought, and thankfully it was an area record for Georgia Griffiths in fourth, because she was brave to make that decision to go with the pace in the beginning, and Georgia worked her way back very, very sensibly. But take nothing away from Gudaf Tsegay. She's kind of exercised those demons from Paris last year and can now go forward into this year feeling a little bit better about herself.
And quite often she looks so concentrated and focused. We don't often see the smile, but there it is in celebration at that. But, well, in British terms, the men's and women's 1500 metres has been good. The silver for Neil Gourley, the bronze for Georgia Hunter-Bell, but gold and silver go to Ethiopia in the women's event in Gudaf Tsegay, Diribi Welteji. We thought that was going to be the 1-2, and again, we thought there was going to be a huge gap from 1 to 2, as there was, and we knew it was going to be a good battle for the bronze medal. In the end, it was Georgia Hunter-Bell and Georgia Griffiths, some way clear of the others, but Georgia Hunter-Bell taking it. So, say that says I'll be very, very interested to hear from Georgia, because of what happened at the European Indoors, where she went in as the favourite. Very different feeling coming into this event.
Yes, and I think she will be the first to underline as well that you have to be going into events at this level 100% healthy. And she perhaps wasn't that going into Apeldoorn, but she's had time to gather herself. And there were moments in that race where she was challenging for the silver medal as well. But she doesn't yet have the strength that Welteji has to be able to really draw deep at the pace that they went out at and finish as well as Welteji did.
We will hear from her shortly. Just look at that time. That championship record of Gudaf Tsegay, 3:54.86. Indoors, that is lightning quick. Only Faith Kipyegon could live with that. Not competing here, the great Kenyan, but Georgia Hunter-Bell now on drink handing out duties. And we will hear from her in a moment. So there is confirmation of the final result. A brave run from Georgia Griffith, that area record, the oceanic record for the Australian. Georgia Hunter-Bell with the bronze medal and a personal best. Diribi Welteji with the silver. Gudaf Tsegay with the gold. But Georgia Hunter-Bell, much to tell us about, and we can hear all her thoughts now talking to Sarah.
Georgia is here with me. Georgia, another drink of water. That was a tough final, and it was taken out at a fast pace.
Yes, 1500 metres is like a riddle. Like it can go any way, and no one knows until we start. So I thought that the Ethiopians actually might chill and come round, but actually they went off really fast from the start. They were mixing up in their heat, so fair play to them for changing up the tactics and keeping us guessing. But I wanted it to be a hard run. I thought that I could be really competitive and differentiate myself from the rest of the field, and let like that happen, so I'm really happy.
Talk me through your decision making then within the race, because obviously Tsegay went and then there was the couple just ahead, but you hung back initially.
Yeah, I feel like with training I'm very in tune to what 4-minute pace feels like, so I can know quite quickly if we're going quicker than 4-minute pace, and it started off very quick. So I know I didn't want to use up all my matches, stay patient, bide my time, and back that I'd be able to wind them up.
And how special is this for you? There was obviously disappointment in Europe, we know that, but to be able to come here just a couple of weeks later and to be able to come away with a medal.
Yeah, it's so important to me, and I think it's been my real test in my athletic career. Definitely the biggest loss so far in my career. But I think that's what being an athlete is about, like getting up when it goes wrong and keeping going and learning from it. And I just was so inspired by some of the performances on the team. What Amber did last night, I just saw Neil get his medal, and I just wanted to contribute.
And for you as well, you know, there's been a big change, hasn't there? This is the first year now that you're a professional athlete and everything like that, so it's a huge learning curve.
It's a huge learning curve, and my lowest finish ever in a Team GB vest has been 4th, so I have to give myself a little bit of grace, but yeah, hopefully a lot more to come, and I'm just really excited and happy to be part of the team.
And looking ahead then to the summer, how much do you think this couple of weeks will give you for the outdoor season?
Oh, I think huge. Like, if I look back to where I was this time last year, I couldn't break 4:03 indoors, and then I went on to run 3:52 in the summer, which is pretty wild to think about now. But here I've gone nearly 4 seconds quicker indoors, so hopefully that bodes well for the summer. And yeah, a nice big block of training now. I've got great training partners. I've got Keely Hutchinson, Sarah Healy, so we're in a good spot.
It does really seem like a great group, obviously, with Trevor Painter and Jenny Meadows. What do they bring? What do they provide?
I mean, they're the best duo in terms of coaching ever, I think. maybe I'm biased, but his training really works, and I think we've just got such a good mix across the team of middle distance. Keely's an Olympic champion in the 8, I'm an Olympic medalist in the 15, and Sarah's European champion in the 3K. So together we all push each other on in different ways, and yeah, I'm excited to have one big summer.
Well, it's certainly boding well for it. Georgia, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
She makes a really good point there. Her progress over the last 12 months has been incredible, and that performance last year in Glasgow was great and showed us something perhaps was coming with this athlete. I don't think anybody really expected at that point she was going to feature on a podium at the Olympic Games later that summer. And as she says there, the time she's putting in now indoors, and she knows the training works. She's got such confidence in her training duo and her training trio in terms of the women she mentioned, but the duo of coaches.
Yeah, and you look at those kind of chunks of times that she's improved by, you know, you'd be forgiven to think that was like an 18-year-old athlete, but she's 31 and making those massive improvements is incredible. And yeah, it's just great to see her smiling in a really positive place after a couple of weeks ago. She's run a personal best, she's tried different tactics, she's put herself out of her comfort zone, and she's adapted, and it's brilliant to see her in this space at the beginning of a great year in the indoor season. You know, she put herself in a great position there. You know, I potentially thought she was going to go for the silver, and she could well have had that as well. But it's just great to see her running the way she is in a great setup with a great team behind her.
She articulates so well, doesn't she? The riddle of the 1,500 metres. It is a riddle, as so often is the 800 metres as well, especially when you've got 4 laps of the track. And these finals are coming thick and fast. It's the women's and men's 800 metres next. You can see the men are out there. So here's Steve Cram, Paula Radcliffe and the team.
Well, the favourite there, Josh Hoey. This is going to be an interesting race because Hoey is a committed front runner. So is Crestan at his very best. And he would probably be looking to follow the American because I think he will want to take the lead. Canales will try and follow. This is all new to him. He is, though, the new Spanish record holder. Took that from Mariano Garcia, who we just saw in the 1,500 metres. Brandon Miller can front run, but he also knows how to follow Josh Hoey. And then inside him in lane 2, Sam Chappell, the new European indoor champion, ran brilliantly in front of his home crowd. Has looked not quite as good as that here, but I think he will just tag onto the train there and follow and hope that they get it wrong. But I'm expecting something incredibly fast here. Riga will be on the inside for Uganda. Now, Josh Hoey has run the 2nd fastest of all time this year. Only Wilson Kipketer has gone quicker when he broke the world record in Paris, I remember, in the heats back in 1997. And Hoey on the outside, Crestan of Belgium, then Canales of Spain, Miller, the other American. So will Hoey do what we all expect? That's how he likes to run. He wants to get out in front and control it. Crestan doing the same, Miller doing the same. Has Crestan got there before him? He has, but Hoey has to go all the way around the outside. So watch the clock on this. Look where Sam Chappell is, miles behind. This is quick, 24.5 through 200.
Really quick, and it was a battle of the front runners there in that first bend to just see who could get to the front. Certainly Miller wanted to be there, Crestan wanted to be there, but ultimately now I think those two are where they wanted to be, tracking Josh Hoey and just letting him dictate the race.
Coached by the Australian Justin Rinaldi, but his dad looks after it. He trains with his brothers, and Miller goes past him. Now this is unusual, 50.6, and Miller's deciding, let's upset this, let's have a different script to this. I'm not just going to follow you. So Hoey says, no, I want to be in front. This is a great battle. The two of them want to be leading this, want to be controlling this, and Hoey goes past him again on the bend. Crestan and Canales are close. Chappell is closing, but a long way behind.
And are Crestan and Canales just running the smarter race in terms of letting these two duke it out at the front and saving a bit of energy for them to come back?
For the first time, Hoey looks a little bit leggy. There are 4 in with a chance, and don't write off Sam Chappell. He's still a long way behind. Miller looks tired. Hoey's at the front. He's hanging out there. Canales is going to be a danger off the bend. Can the Dutchman get in amongst it, even from where he is? It's Hoey still leading it. Can he go gun to tape here? The American might just hang on. Crestan is coming, but he gets it. 1:44.79. Crestan takes the silver. Canales the bronze, and a fast finishing Chappell couldn't get there quick enough. Well done, Josh Hoey. Well, he did an Ingebrigtsen, really. Everybody knew what he was going to do, except Miller hadn't read that. And Miller, I think, was a bit odd, really, because he threw away his own chances by fighting to get the front. As Paula made the point, used up so much energy to do that. But what testimony to Hoey's strength. And to be fair, his competitiveness to come back. Crestan was closing, but not quite quick enough.
Yeah, Crestan just needed it to be an 820-metre race instead of an 800-metre race, because he was certainly closing, but this man was just too strong. And even though he perhaps got sucked into a little bit of that ego battle with Miller, he still had the strength to hold that down the straight, and phenomenally admirable strength in doing that. And Canales also closing very quickly, kind of has rewritten the script for himself a little bit. He didn't look that good in the European Indoor Championships, but certainly showed his potential for the future in coming through for the bronze there. And I think Elliot Crestan as well picks himself up progresses himself from the bronze last time up to the silver medal there, and well deserved. And that's what it means to Canales.
Yeah, that's a good point about him. I think he just got caught out by the hustle and bustle. He's still fairly inexperienced, really, at this level. And the great thing about when you've got someone like Hoey and indeed Miller in the race, you don't have to think. You're just hanging on and then hope that you're good enough to come back at the end. And he did. So, well done for the Spaniard. And Crestan, I think, will be pleased. I mean, Hoey's been the #1 in the world this year. He really has been. So, deserved win for him.
And that's something as well, isn't it, to come in carrying that expectation of everybody's been watching from around the world the results that he's been throwing in, and everybody's expecting him to go out and win it, but he still has to go out and execute that race, and he did that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go and analyse the splits afterwards. A fast start, and that makes it hard for everybody. In a 1:44.77 winning time, that's sharp indoors. Crestan the silver and Canales bronze for Spain.
Meanwhile, the shot put continues, and New Zealand's Tom Walsh still leads after that opening effort of 21.65 m. And look at that for Piperi, the American. No Krauser, no Kovacs, but Adrian Piperi, known as Trip to his friends, jumps out the back of the circle and then drives that, lands perfectly on that right toe and straight down the middle, and it's out towards that mark of Tom Walsh. Loves it, doesn't he? He's really up for this, as the American got into second place there with 21.48. 2 throws remaining. So Leonardo Fabbri, I've said he's a streaky thrower, but when he gets it right, he can challenge, and that's better. Building into this competition slowly. It was a tentative start. DNQ at the European Indoors was distraught, in tears, but slightly off balance there. It's still not quite what he can get that out to, but it's over 21 meters, 21.36 into third place. Watch out for Fabbri, raising his game. So into the final round now. Roger Steen of the USA has a massive season's best of 21.94. If he can replicate that, he's going to be right in there, and does get beyond that 21-meter line, saved his best till last. Only the top 6 in this final throw, and it's Victor Pettersson went first a few moments ago, 20.87, stays in 6th. Roger Steen, 21.62, goes up into second place. That'll wake everyone up. The medals are rearranged. It's USA 2 and 3 behind Tom Walsh's leading mark of 21.65. It took a while, but he got there in the end. And Enekwechi then, who was in a medal position up until the 4th round, now in 5th place, goes in pursuit. And it's another throw beyond 21 meters. His best so far, 21.25. It's amazing, isn't it, how one athlete goes far, the rest just respond. Has he hurt himself there? He looks a slightly discomfort, but Powerful man, Enekwechi, 21-25, but a foul there and won't be measured. Right then, 4 athletes left, and Leonardo Fabri, the world leader, the European champion of 2024. 4 of the 10 best marks in the world this year, but is outside of the medals unless he can go further in this last round. It's better. It's better. It's not enough, though. It's not enough for Fabri, and his indoor efforts across the last few weeks have left him wanting slightly. Just lands not quite balanced on that right toe and took a while for it to react. Slow to get the right side going, and that's where the action comes from. 21-15, no improvement, and Fabri remains in that frustrating 4th place. So we know our medalists. What order? At the moment, Adrian Piperi in 3rd place with 21.48. Big shout from the American, and it's on 21 meters, and that won't change. So he stays in 3rd place. Nothing he could do watching his teammate go ahead. There's the event leader just getting himself ready here. Wait for this to be measured just to confirm. He'll not know exactly where that's landed. You are champion once again, Tom Walsh, for the 3rd time from gun to tape. Can enjoy this final effort. 21.65 in the opening round. What an amazing CV. He's incredibly quick, isn't he? And he's saved his best, has he? Another effort beyond 21 meters. And New Zealand's Tom Walsh adds a 3rd world indoor title. Add that to 2 Commonwealth golds, a world champion in 2017. And all the rest can do is applaud greatness. Fabri, the first to congratulate Tom Walsh, disappointing in that 4th place. The 2 Americans really brought their best. They're the 2, Piperi and Steen, in silver and bronze, but thumbs up, Tom Walsh. Great effort, great performance, and gold for New Zealand. Big season's best. That's as expected, because it's his only indoor competition. Obviously comes from the New Zealand summer, expected to be in shape, and great performance there. He knows how to get it right when it comes to championships, and what a demonstration of American strength in depth as well. You can leave the likes of Ryan Krauser, the world record holder, at home. Joe Kovacs, the multi-world medalist, also not involved. But America 2-3.
No, I don't want to get a photo with you.
He said, tongue-in-cheek.
You gotta get in the middle. Yeah, you're in the middle. Right over here.
Probably 3 of the, not the biggest either, not the tallest athletes, but probably the quickest. And it's, I don't know if it's an evolution of the event, rotation, all about speed, especially with Tom Walsh. Quick athletes. And here's your confirmation of those eventual pretty high standards. 21.65, just 3 centimeters. Walsh ahead of Steen and Piperi for a USA 2-3. Toda there, the European indoor champion, down in 6th place. So they're back to this long jump final. Pinnock in 3rd place. 4th round jump now. Oh, that's a long way down the pit. If it's going to be measured, is it? Pinnock, 4th attempt. He's on 8.28. It's around the same kind of distance. There's your leader with 8.30. Pinnock's 8.29. Slight improvement then.
Must have been right on the board there. They were taking a long time to confirm that as green, but yeah, that 1 centimetre improvement. There we are, that's why.
Yeah, 1 centimetre improvement, and brings him 1 centimetre closer to that lead of Fulani of Italy, just another centimetre ahead. So you can throw your hat over the top three. 8:30, 8:29, 8:28. 1 centimetre separating gold, silver and bronze.
Back to the track. What a final we had in the men's 800 metres, and now the women, where there is a clear favourite. You see her there in lane 5, Duguma. Meet the others first, though. Well, the athlete just outside him, Prudence Segediso of South Africa, made the Olympic final in Paris and has gone below 2 minutes again indoors. That's very, very quick. Tsege Duguma then, the defending champion, started out as a 400-metre runner and then a couple of years ago moved up to such great effect. Silver in Paris behind Keely Hodgkinson after taking this title in Glasgow. Anna Wielgosz, the European indoor champion. In fact, what a contrast in fortunes at the European indoors for the athletes in lanes 4 and 3, because Wielgosz won it. Audrey Vero, who turns 21 in a few days' time, fell in the final with 100 metres to go, clipping the back of Slovenia's Anna Horvat. So Vero looking to make amends. Patricia Silva, who comes from a great running line. Her father, Rhys Silva, won the world indoor title over 1,500 metres in 2001. Mother Susanna was also a very decent 800-metre runner. Nigist Getachew of Ethiopia really made enormous strides outdoors last year, taking 8 seconds off her best time. She ran 1:57.40 or so in Zagreb. But it is the other Ethiopian, Tsege Duguma, looking to defend her title and usually gets to the front to try and control things. But look at the speed that Getachew, the Ethiopian, has gone off on the inside here, Paul. Look at that surge from Getachew.
If you were watching that, you'd be forgiven for thinking it was a 400-metre race, and they were battling for the front without a doubt there. I'm not sure if that's a little bit of nerves coming to the fore for Getachew, but certainly it sets the race up behind, and the others have had to respond. 26.
So watch this 800 metres here, because this is 800 metres. Wielgosz, second from the back, the European indoor champion. So she should start to close in the final stages, because the others have gone out so hard. Now Duguma can go out at this pace just about and hang on, but the others are going to suffer. Vero's probably in quite a good position because she's been halfway between, a little bit more measure, but Wielgosz at the back, European champion from Poland.
Yeah, I think Wielgosz and Silva also just sat back off that a little bit more sensibly. Vero did check back, but she'd almost paid a little bit of the price by the time where she did choose to just step back from that lead. But these other two have gone with it. Duguma will be happy with this pace. Segediso is certainly taking herself into unknown territory, although it is backing off a little now, and the danger is that gap that's growing back to Silva and Vero.
And that was inside world record pace, the record of Jolanda Cheplak going back to 2002. So they are going to suffer. Duguma is looking as if she's in a bit of trouble here now. Nigist Getachew, the Ethiopian, leads from Segediso, and look at Duguma. She's coming back, and that's a little island for the others to hop to and then try and bridge to this front two, but holding on at the moment. Getachew, though, you can see her tiring. Segediso then of South Africa is suddenly out and free. Getachew is going to be reeled in here surely if Vero can remain strong, and Wielgosz is coming as well, and Silva. But look at this from Prudence Segediso for South Africa, a long way clear, heading to gold. Getachew is going to come under pressure, but she might just hang on. Segediso takes it, Getachew hangs on, and I think it was just Silva on the line, just from Vero. And look at Duguma coming across the line in last place. That I didn't see happening at all to Duguma. Something was amiss there. She was the one who paid the price, but Segediso couldn't have called that. The world's fastest time this year, 1:58.40 for Prudence Segediso. Big personal best. Getachew taking the silver, and Silva coming through with a Portuguese record to take that bronze medal just ahead of Audrey Vero. That was a great race and an unexpected race. That's why it was a surprise.
It was an exciting race to watch, and it certainly took the rule book and just basically ripped it into shreds and threw it out of the window, because the pace that they went off at, and Segediso was right there, and she can't believe how quickly she's run and how well she survived that. And it did become just a battle of survival. Steve's just saying the winner did 63.2 for the last 400 metres. It was about who was the strongest and who could hold on. South Africa have not won a medal in the women's 800 metres at these World Indoor Championships. She goes straight in there with the gold medal, and for Portugal as well. They hadn't won a medal either and didn't quite match her dad's gold, but came in with the bronze.
But talk splits in an 800 metres. So what, 55, 63? I mean, that's astonishing. That's why I love the 800 metres, because there are different ways of running it, and you saw them in that race there, the different approaches taken, and it paid off for Segedin. So that's bravery. So at the end, she can't believe it.
And I think, sorry, Steve's going to come in with the splits maybe for silver, but certainly hers would have been a lot more balanced. And the way that Segedin ran it, I think indicates that she can go substantially quicker with more even splits. But for Getachew as well, I mean, you've got to admire just what she was doing going out there, because she certainly managed to beat the majority of the field in there, and you can see the battle to the line.
But we talked about in the first lap, Silva and Vilgosh were hanging near the back, and it wasn't Vilgosh, the European indoor champion, who came through in the end. It was Silva, Portuguese athlete, and that was a wonderful run.
National record, and her grandfather will be so pleased.
Her grandfather, who raced against Steve Cram. If you've been watching the World Indoors, we have been mentioning that fact. I'm quite enjoying it as well. But Segedin enjoyed her victory even more. Yeah, that's the first ever World Indoor gold medal for South Africa. Again, a Southern Hemisphere country where indoor championships have not been a thing in history. But Prudence Segedin, what a great race, and a great way to choose to run it and to hold on. Not sure what happened to Sigi Duguma there, because that was very, very strange. Getachew almost able to hold on, but Segedin taking the gold, silver to Getachew, and that bronze richly celebrated by Portugal and by Patricia Silva with that national record. Vero just ran out, despite her Swiss record as well, and Vilgosh, European indoor champion, with a personal best. Couldn't convert that into a medal at the World Indoors, but just a fascinating race, Paula.
And I think we talked about the fact that perhaps the full strength wasn't there over 800 metres with Keely Hodgkinson not being able to come here. I think Monok racing indoors, but actually that was a really, really exciting race to watch, and I think a lot of people will sit up now and take notice moving forward, because 800-metre racing on the women's side is very, very exciting.
I just wanted to look at the splits for Silva by comparison, but you...
56.8 for her first 400, okay. So she ran a superb 62 second form. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So it is worth the topic. You know, there are so many different ways, and in women's 800-metre running, they do tend to do that type of racing more than the men tend to. Anyway, are you ready for this? This is going to be a cracking final here. We have 6 of the top 15 best athletes of all time in this, including the world record holder, Devin Charlton, who just gave signs of a return to top form in the semi-final. Kambundji won the European indoors, just a tad off the world record. She ran 7.67, making her the joint second fastest in the world ever. Grace Stark has got quicker. Personal best in the heat, personal best in the semi-final. The American set to perhaps spring a surprise here and give the Americans an event they always love to win. Skrzyszowska, the former European outdoor champion. Nadine Visser, silver medal behind Kambundji in Apeldoorn in front of a home crowd. Would love to go one better here, is capable. Then we've got the former world junior champion, Akira Nugent, who almost didn't make it through here after clattering the final hurdle, broke it in bits. Christina Clemens, and despite the fact that she's out in lane 8, and you wouldn't give necessarily her one of the best chances, she is one of those in that top list of all-time best athletes. We've got 3 of the Olympic finalists here as well. So take your pick. Really, it is going to be hard to call this. Stark right in the middle. Skrzyszowska next to her of Poland. She's got Kambundji on the other side. Don't write off Charlton and Visser, Nugent. Women's 60 hurdles final. Charlton gets out brilliantly, leads to the first hurdle. Kambundji is with her, Stark left. Skrzyszowska coming through the middle, it's going to be tight, and it could well be Devin Charlton. We weren't expecting that. She just about hung on. They were coming, they were charging in a line, almost in a straight line. Kambundji was leading the charge, but they didn't get there. Charlton hung on. We were hoping and thinking it might have been a little bit quicker, but she won't be bothered.
She came good when it mattered most, and the others did not step up. They did not get quicker. Kambundji did hang on for second place, and I think it'll be very, very tight for third after that. Skrzyszowska wasn't too far away. Well, it's actually Nugent who's come up there, not by much. Just 0.03 of a second, Colin, between her and Skrzyszowska, who has run a new national record. But this morning, and goodness me, that seems a long time ago, in the middle of the night for us, when you saw how Charlton started this campaign, you would not have envisaged this.
Never whatsoever. But remember, I did hint to the fact that she was camping early on in the rounds, and it was a complete contrast in the performance here. She went into a great sprint mode, and she ran off every single hurdle, drove into it with meaning, with purpose. You know, you are the world record holder. She knows, she's been to these times before. She's been in this position before, where she's been a favourite. But boy, oh boy, what a race. I mean, I nearly dragged down everything in front of me. I was jumping up and down.
I did see that.
You did see me do that.
I thought you'd fallen off your chair,
Yeah.
almost.
It was such a good race. I mean, when you have the best in the world living up to their performances, it just makes it so exciting as an event. Nugent there, of course, she's very, very pleased. Remember, I said bouncing back to come to a championships and get on the rostrum is going to be really important for her, because she missed out dramatically at the Olympic Games. So she'll be very happy and relieved to get that bronze medal, a season's best 7.74. There's no way we could say that she let herself down. There's no disappointment there. All these women, all really raised their game.
Yeah, sister there to congratulate her, who took part in the long jump. It was all about the start, Colin, and we knew that she got out well earlier on and didn't carry it through, as you mentioned, and they were charging fast. And look at that line, all of the top contenders we were expecting. That result, you know, if you ran that race, let's be honest, if you ran it 4 or 5 times, we probably wouldn't get the same result.
Yeah, I've mentioned that to the women before, because they are so close. Look at this, that, you know, every time that we run this race, you get a different result. But every time the champion will always say, no, I would just still would have taken it, which is great to see. But there she is, Devon Charlton, twice now a world indoor champ. Wow, oh wow, great performance. Look at the results, Steve, look at that.
Yeah, you look at Visser and she goes, yeah, I was 400ths from winning the gold medal of the world title, but I was 6th. Very tight indeed. Devon Charlton takes it, retains her title, and not looking quite so good for Tentoglou. Steve, or?
Well, he has one more chance to salvage a competition where we are so not used to seeing him outside the medals, if not at the very top of the leaderboard. He's currently in 5th place with his 8 meters and 14 centimeters. The final field event to reach its climax at these World Indoor Championships, and the reigning and defending champion will, well, he's out the medals unless he can jump beyond 8 meters 30, and he has saved his best till last. It's not going to be enough, I don't think, but it's a red flag anyway. And that recent illness may be taking its toll. He has looked a little washed out, a little flat through the competition. He improved slightly. Oh, look at that. Is that a foul, really?
That's what they say it is. It is a foul. And he's going to be really kind of frustrated, as you can imagine. But, you know, one of the things we always say, you've got to be out there to compete all the time, and he's missed so much competition for him. So you need to get out there, you need to perform to be accurate majority of the time, and he's just missed out on this occasion. But, of course, we got to remember, he is still a great champion.
Without a shadow of a doubt, but he has to hand over the title of being the reigning world indoor champion. We're yet to find out who he will relinquish that title to, because there are still 4 men left to adjust a millimetre change to the run-up of Wayne Pinnock, who sits in 2nd place. That's the tiniest of adjustments, just an insight to the precision required to get the foot as close to that takeoff board without going beyond it, as we just saw Miltiades Tentoglou do across in a foul in that final round. So Liam Adcock of Australia sits in bronze medal position with 8.28 and has put together a massive series of jumping. 2 jumps on 8 meters 28 in rounds 1 and 2, but has slightly fizzled after that. It looks like no improvement and may have to settle for bronze. But now I'm just looking at Izumaya of Japan has retired, so Adcock guaranteed bronze, and we'll wait for this distance to be measured before we find out. It's 8:18. Adcock of Australia, a bronze medal and a great performance, but that leaves 2 men. And I wonder which way this is going to go. You can hardly separate the 2 men at the top of the leaderboard in this men's long jump final. Wayne Pinnock, the silver medalist, and the young superstar, Mattia Falani of Italy, waiting poised to respond to whatever Pinnock can do in this closing stages. 8:29 for Pinnock, 8:30 for Falani. 1 centimetre between them. And by the way, Pinnock has backed that 8:29 up with an 8:28. You can see there in the second round. One final leap. Do not be surprised if the Jamaican goes beyond the Italian. He's off. Pinnock, 6th round jump, 8:30 or it's silver. Good on the board. It's not going to be enough, you know. And he knows it, so there's your champion. He'll wait for confirmation. A wry smile at the other end of that long jump runway. The Italian won't really know what's happened there. He'll have a sense of the fact by the crowd's response. It will be measured. I think it's enough. Difficult to see exactly where the cut of the sand is measured from. Let's have a look at this, Colin.
Yeah, it's popped up there to be 8 meters and 20, so just shy of victory for him. But he did commit himself, didn't he? This is what we like to see. Did those little alterations, but did he go a little bit tight? Was that the reason why he dropped those 11 centimeters to take that gold?
So we have a new champion. Mattia Falani of Italy also took gold in the triple jump with Andy Diaz. Seems like weeks ago. That was only, what was it, day before yesterday that we saw that triple jump final. And Italy jumping specialism is in safe hands, especially when you think Falani, the newly crowned world champion, will have another jump here, is only 20 years of age. Silver medalist last year in Glasgow. Now it's gold for Falani. The green bib denoting his world-leading mark of 8 meters 37. It'd be great icing on the cake if he were able to extend that on this final leap. 8:30 in the second round, 8:28 in the 4th round then. A lap of honour, fast on the approach as ever, and it's going to be slightly shy of that 8 meters 30. It doesn't matter. Mattia Falani, Olympic bronze medalist last year, he's got an impressive CV at the age of 20. What a future he has ahead of him, and congratulations from Adcock and a new champion. Great to see. So Australia bronze. Pinnock looking slightly disappointed with his day's work. Got a lot of silver in his cabinet.
Yeah, you can see his head's down, he's frustrated himself. Obviously coming here in the hope to do a little bit better than that.
Yeah, I mean, he was second at the last World and Olympic, the Pinnock that is, to Miltiades Tentoglou. He must think, you know, destined to be a silver medalist, this time behind the young man who can only improve, you'd have thought. Our new world champion, Mattia Falani of Italy.
I've seen great competition so far. Across the board in field and track, we've seen some really, really good competition. I think of the shot put and the margins between gold, silver and bronze there, and a wonderful long jump competition as well. And the 800s and the 1500s, some really good racing, some really good competition in the field. It's been a fitting final day.
Very tight competition. That 8.28, 1 centimetre Adcock back from Wayne Pinnock's 8.29, and just seeing Pinnock's reaction to that silver medal, it's a very credible performance where the from one champion hands over that title to the new champion, but that 1 centimetre only does come down to tiny margins quite often, the long jump. And confirmation, got that, 8.30, 8.29, 8.28, Italy, Jamaica, Australia, and the 20-year-old Mattia Filani in the top spot.
I think that's highlighted as well as you look down there, and we're talking about the great competition across all events, because we have talked about a lot of the events not being the strongest field here at the World Indoor Championships, and we'll come to this in a moment with the 4x400 metres. There have been some outstanding events as well. I would say that it's tradition, of course, that we end with the relays in the 4x400 metres here. Here it's the USA, and it's a straight final. This is a very, very weak event. They just don't have enough countries competing in it. Countries haven't sent. You know, you think of last year, Belgium with that great win over the USA, Netherlands third, Spain, Poland, the Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Great Britain, Northern Ireland in recent years at World Indoors have won medals in the men's 4x4. None of those countries are here. None of those countries sending, competing. So you have Jamaica there. You saw the USA on the outside. They should blow everyone away. You've got Attila Molnar leading a Hungarian quartet. And then you've got China and Sri Lanka in the indoors. But and China being involved guarantees that there will be some atmosphere. But sometimes in sport, you know, we sell sport and we say, you know, this will be great, this will be a wonderful contest. I don't think this will be. You've got to be honest about it sometimes. But we could see what the USA might do with the gold, silver and bronze medalists all competing for their quartet.
Yeah, I think it will be a USA demonstration. And we haven't had a world record, I don't think, either of these championships yet. So potentially this could be the quartet that does it for them. Who knows?
Yeah, the official world record in this event is 3:01.51 by an American team from the University of Houston in 2019. Now there's Elijah Godwin leading them out, but then it's on to the three medalists from the individual event in the 400 meters for the USA. Hungary have Yengi taking them out, and then Val and Kovac, and then Attila Molnar on the anchor leg. Jamaica, not a great Jamaican quartet. Rasheen McDonald will lead them out. China with Zheng there, and then Zhang, Zhu, and Zhu taking all the home support, and Sri Lanka on the inside. So it's a straight final. They didn't have heats here, or they're supposed to, but just didn't have enough countries entering. So a little bit of a shame, if we're honest about it. But let's see what the USA can do. And with relays, you never know what might unfold. Final, the men's 4x4. Long time in the blocks, and then they go in this final, and Elijah Godwin on the outside for the USA. Hungary going off pretty strongly through Nyingi. And again, this long unwinding of the stagger, and Hungary in a good position at the moment. So too Sri Lanka with Kumarangi on the inside. But again, that's going to be a stretch for them to be involved in the latter stages. Godwin takes control, huge figure, powerful figure, and leading Jamaica and then Hungary.
Yeah, the top three there looking very strong and easy, because there's so much clear air between third and fourth at this moment in time. Now, I'm pretty surprised that Jamaica is so far up there early on in this stage, but Hungary's going to make that final little charge, isn't it? They're going to be in that position to make it a slick back and change.
Yes, not a pretty start from Godwin, and not a great run by the Americans, so Jamaica and Hungary still involved. But now he hands on to Brian Faust for the USA, who took silver in the individual, ahead of Jamaican Jasona Dennis, and for Hungary it's Zoltan Val. And those top three cleared, and American now through Faust beginning to pull away a little bit.
Yeah, Faust has really committed himself over that first 200 metres, making it very easy for him, clear air, making it non-messy. Coming into the change, you don't want so many things, activities going around you, so you can have clear air is the one I use, so you can see where the baton needs to be placed directly. Jamaica still in second place, and China making that final surge, isn't it? Catching up the Hungarians.
Yeah, Zhang Jining getting the roar of the crowd, starting to tire now, but he's got China into a position perhaps where they might challenge for a medal against Hungary. So it's the USA, long way clear, as it's taken on now by Jacori Patterson, bronze medalist in the individual. Big gap back to Jamaica. Kamar Farquharson who has it, and China in third place. But for Hungary, it's Arpad Kovac trying to get back.
The Americans will be looking at the time, looking at the clock very carefully indeed. When I no doubt will be on that world record. 3:01, they'll be looking at Jamaica in second place. And the Hungarians are still going to fight. They're not giving up that medal, nor are China.
And China hold the bend through Zhu, just managing to hold off Kovac of Hungary. And America not pulling away. Jacori Patterson has been closed in a little bit by Kamar Farquharson, who's on a very good leg for Jamaica. But for the USA, it's Chris Bailey, the gold medalist in the individual, on the anchor leg. Damar Francis has it for Jamaica. China in third.
China are in third at this moment in time, but the Hungarian is breathing down his neck. Super talented. Look at Jamaica, United States. I think we're really surprised to see that Jamaica is so close at this moment. But how much has the USA got in the tank?
And I think those cheers will fall away in the stadium because China are going to be past. It's Attila Molnar for Hungary, the European champion, who passes now into the third position. USA, though, this is a much closer gap than we expected at this stage, but Chris Bailey will have plenty in reserve. He took the gold in the individual, and now he starts to pull away. His leg's not tiring, whereas Damar Francis is beginning to labour, so it's going to be gold for the USA, just outside that world record time. Jamaica with the silver, and Hungary with the bronze, just ahead of China. So it went just about in terms of the positions according to plan, but Jamaica put up much more of a fight than I think we expected.
Yeah, I think the Jamaican team, they can be proud of themselves. No mistakes happened there. Top three as expected. Hungarians rewarded with a national record there, Andrew. So 3:06.03, strong performance.
Yeah, decent enough final, and again, it went according to the script. I would say, what a shame that the likes of Belgium or the Netherlands or whoever it might be who's competed in the last few World Indoor Champions didn't make the trip straight to a final. I mean, the USA probably would have won in the end anyway, because it's such as their great strength and depth in 400-meter running. But again, if it's closer and there are more countries up there, then a bit more pressure is put on them. Who knows? But the world champions, World Indoor Champions again, the USA and their quartet of Elijah Godwin, Brian Faust, Jacori Patterson and Chris Bailey. And Jamaica, we're very proud of the effort they put in. Rushing McDonald didn't come in with great form in the individual, but he led them out, and I thought a very, very good leg from Kamar Farquharson in particular on the third leg. And Hungary denying the home crowd a medal to cheer, with Attila Molnar on that anchor leg, being able to find his way past Zhu Tangqi. So, again, the final that we expected. And we'll just have a look at some of the key moments for you. I thought Faust ran a good leg, as we expected, because, again, Elijah Godwin was starting to fade for the USA on that first leg.
Yeah, Faust is the one who really did some damage, didn't he? I say, when he worked so hard in that first 200 metres, just to give himself that room, isn't it? He nearly ran into the board there, which came off.
Got some splits for you here, some of their leg times. I mean, Godwin was 46.84 for the USA, and they got quicker and quicker. Faust 45.94, Patterson 45.51, Chris Bailey 44.84. He had so much running in his legs at the end. Attila Molnar 44.72 to bring Hungary up into that bronze medal position. And for Jamaica, it was Kamar Farquharson who was fastest, 45.41. Rushing McDonald 47 seconds on the lead-out leg. That left a lot to do for the others.
USA, though, expected winners. They've delivered, haven't they? They've had a reasonably good championships, I think.
Yeah, it's again the strength and depth in American athletics. Obviously, they're able to send so many good athletes. So the USA take the men's 4x4, and the final event will be the women's 4x4 to come.
Thank you very much, Andrew. The women still to come, and it's worth reiterating that Great Britain without teams in either of these two relays. And while that is disappointing not to be able to kind of see where they are and their progress, understandable with the schedule as it is and the focus being put on the world relays because they potentially count for more for the British team.
Yeah, and they are coming up
qualification.
soon. And also, you know, if we look at our relay teams, we've got real strength and depth at the moment. We've had quite a lot of success within the relays, and we've got a great setup there. So I think, again, it's that season where you've got to pick and choose, be selective. The World Relays is more of a priority for the team, and rightly so, for us at this stage of the season.
Yeah, the 4x4, of course, the women got a bronze in Paris, the mixed relay as well. Now, mixed is becoming a really valuable medal, isn't it?
It is, and it's great to see not just within Great British athletics, but, you know, global athletics, that the mixed relay is something that, you know, teams are really excited by and sending their top teams.
OK, well, it is the final race of the 2025 World Indoor Championships. Poland always so strong in this one. The women's 4x400 metre relays, there they are, the Polish quartet. Steve Crown will call this one.
Yeah, in the past they've won, well, Sveta Ercetic has won 2 silver medals at the World Indoors. They've got 2 teenagers in that, very, very young athletes, 17-year-old on the third leg. By contrast, a very experienced American team, more of them in a second, red-hot favourites, even more than the men. Aussies, 2 teenagers for them, Pasquale and Pollard on the latter legs. Connolly ran in the 60 metres earlier on. So, good luck. China will be hoping upon hope they can maybe sneak a medal here. Again, only 5 teams. Brazil, as in the men's race, not lining up. Sri Lanka here representing their country, but I think will be pretty distant. So Poland have got some experience. The Aussies have got a bit of young talent, but the Americans have all the firepower here. Amber Anning will be watching on, as she mentioned, because her teammate Effiong, and Amber Anning and Effiong were in the team that ran the, what's essentially world record, except it isn't a world record because it wasn't a national team, it was a collegiate team. They ran 3:21 back in 2023, but the American record, national record, is 3:23.85. You kind of got to go every leg sub 51 to do that. This team definitely capable of it. Quinera Hayes will lead them off. Has already got 2 World Indoor gold medals to her name in this event. So the last event of these World Indoor Championships, the USA looking to secure yet another 4x400 metre gold medal. The Australians are being led off by Ellie Beer, and she'll try and hang on as close as she can, but I'm really just expecting a battle between Poland and Australia for the silver and bronze. Quinera Hayes hasn't been in great form yet this year by her standards. She's obviously all of the experience that she has though from running indoors, both relay and individually, will come to bear here. So she's always a lead-off leg, which is why she's in this. But the other 2 hanging on so well, and Sveta Ercetic might just come round and give Poland the lead here.
Yeah, interesting approach to this. I think those top 3 there, that position's not going to change unless there's going to be some drastic mistakes made. But at the moment, United States still clearly in the lead. Poland drifting away with Australia, making a very tentative move. And I think the most important thing at this stage, Steve, is just to stay balanced. You don't want to use too much energies, but what is going to happen?
Yeah, just watching how the splits are going here. It's not going super fast at the start here. It wasn't an amazingly quick start from Quinera Hayes, so I think any chance of an American record would require something really good. They have kind of loaded it in the last 2 with Effiong and Alexis Holmes, the silver medalist. So Poland still hanging on. Not surprisingly, Connolly, the sprinter, is just starting to tire a little bit. She went off hard, tried to get on terms with the Poles, but Poland, a bit like in the men's race here, the Americans haven't got it all their own way, but expect Effiong to move away now.
Yeah, one of the key things is having that correct balance all the way through it. It is 2 laps you want to do. You don't want to get too excited and use your energy early. United States, of course, has got the talent, and there's no doubt that is showing right here now. Effiong, so easy to see. It was this first 200 metres, and it's just extended that lead without making real efforts.
Yeah, going well. 17-year-old Kush running for Poland. 18-year-old going here for Australia on the third leg. Pasquale trying to close down. That's going to be a good scrap, you would imagine, for silver and bronze. That if that gap just closes a little more. But at the front, Effiong is going to hand over. She looks a little tired there, doesn't she? Just tying him a little bit. Gives it to Holmes.
Yeah, I was wondering whether she has been glancing at that clock and thinking to herself, oh, maybe we could do a record there. And
He's
so
run 48 seconds.
Yeah. But definitely that's going to be out the window, isn't it? It's about that demonstration. You mentioned, Steve, the United States men look really strong, but the women are even stronger, and you can see clearly the demonstration of their strength in depth over this quarter mile.
Yeah, just able to cruise round now. Alexis Holmes, the silver medalist individually. Poland look as though they've kept enough there. Not much that Gemma Pollard of Australia can do to close the gap, or is she just getting a little bit closer? But it's going to be gold for the USA. Poland clear in second place. Australia will take another medal, and they've done very well here. But Alexis Holmes wins the final gold medal of the World Indoor Championships for the USA. Poland, perhaps as expected, taking the silver. Australia weren't too far away in the end. Pollard just couldn't close the gap. And again, China finishing fourth, as they did in the men's race. So a little bit of an anticlimax in terms of a good competition, if you like. United States as well, 3:27. That's quite slow, actually, to be honest. Maybe one or two tired legs. They are the... well, and another silver medal. That's the third, I think, for Sweetie Ercetic for Poland at the World Indoor 4x4.
Yeah, no, it's been a good result for the United States. So you say it's a very easy victory for them. I mean, you can see they were comfortable, they were confident, and the gold medal is theirs yet again.
Yeah, it's been a good competition for the US. Great Britain have done well. 40% of our team won medals. I don't think the Americans can say that, can they? Really good return on the fact we only took 10 people, 4 medals, and of course Molly Caudry was one that got away, perhaps. But I think the Americans will feel as though they've had a very good championships once more, and we'll be seeing plenty of these athletes again back at the World Relays as well. The season rages on from here.
Yeah, I think the relays, as we sort of highlighted just before the relays, the finals, the standalone finals, no qualifying, that they weren't going to be great races, but that shouldn't detract from what has been a great day, actually, in this final session in the World Indoors. There have been some fantastic events.
And World Athletics maybe have to look at this because, you know, they have stacked the World Relays. They want people to go to the World Relays, and they are in China as well in May, in an already busy season. So they probably can't be too disappointed that some teams, including Great Britain, have decided not to be here. The Dutch weren't here. This women's 4x4 was put at the end of the programme for a rerun of last year of the Dutch versus the Americans. We didn't get it. The Americans went one better than they did last year when they were defeated by the Dutch team. They take the gold medal here in the very final event. What's been a successful champs for them, and certainly a pretty successful one for Great Britain as well.
Well, thank you so much to our brilliant commentary team. That is it for them over the last 3 days. We've enjoyed the fact that you've put in some big shifts overnight, Colin, and we've got one more shift for you here in the studio as well. You've sprinted over. Just a little reflection on those relays there. I mean, it was said in commentary that disappointing, obviously, that they're not the strongest lineups to finish the tournament.
Yeah, and I think what you want to see at the end of a major championship is a competition in that sense, not a demonstration. And it was just a demonstration by the USA. It is what it is. I mean, this is what the choices of the nations have made, and they're in this position. So,
but they're kind of being forced to make those choices, aren't they? And maybe there needs to be a bit more alignment, as Steve was alluding to there, do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what we've got to look at, what we want to do and where you're going to really prioritise. I think you were right when you said that, Jess. You've got to prioritise what you want to do as the nation. And obviously, we need those points to make sure that our team is at the World Championships, at the Olympic Games. And so this is where we're at this moment.
OK, well, before we leave you on BBC Two, let's remind you of a little bit of World Athletics history for Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And by winning the men's 1,500 metres, he became only the second man ever to win 2 individual gold medals in a single World Indoor Championship, following in the footsteps of the great Haile Gebrselassie and Great Britain team captain Neil Gourley, behind him claiming a silver medal as well, a brilliant silver. And afterwards, Jakob spoke to Sarah.
Congratulations, Jakob, a global 1,500 metres title. How much was that a fuel for you?
How much is that?
How much was winning a world 1500 meters title fuel for you?
A fuel. Very nice, very nice. No, I mean, it's every race and every championship is its own thing. I try to do my best every time, and fortunately for me, I'm able to participate quite a lot, which is something I really enjoy. But at the same time, you have to be really focused and sharp. Every race is highly anticipated, and you have to do the right things. Today we're 9 very strong runners. I could tell before the start gun went off that everybody is prepared. Everybody is ready to give it their best, and of course it's an exciting feeling to be part of that. But it's a lot of fun to win.
You've won 2 gold medals this weekend. You were also double success at the Europeans. You love competing. What is it that it gives you?
What is it that it doesn't give me? No, it's I've said it many times before. It's I really enjoyed the sport of running, and at the end of the day, it's a competition. We all come from different areas, different cultures, and different philosophies, and all these things. But we come together in the championships and in the competitions to fight against each other and to fight for medals. And it's about coming together and do those things, which is the beauty of it. And of course, I'm gonna participate in doing that.
Sets it up nicely for Tokyo then.
Of course.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
I think we've talked a lot about how much he loves racing, and actually maybe as an example to some other athletes that, you know, you can get out there and you could probably race. Obviously, if you're injured, it's different, but you can probably race more than you think, and you can get more from it. You said when he was asked the question, what do you love about racing? You said it beats training.
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, competition is easier than training. The only thing is the added pressure of it all. Yeah. But, you know, he's an athlete at the very top of his game for many, many years. And he's really demonstrated that if you get yourself in great shape, you plan well, you can deliver what is necessary. So you don't have to always keep yourself in a cupboard and think to yourself, oh, I'm a little bit anxious, I've got this coming up, I've got that coming up. Just compete. Put it in the picture, know what you're doing, have a professional approach to it, and you can deliver performance after performance.
I do think in athletics, though, we have this feeling of we have to be at our ultimate best to compete, and you sometimes do think, oh, if I'm not at my best, I'm gonna step back a bit. I don't want to put myself on the line. But actually, he's a perfect example of, you know, go out there, compete, race, and enjoy it. You can see that he's enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah. And is there also sometimes in athletics a feeling that you don't always want to show the opposition?
Show your cards.
Yeah, you're trying, and he will go out there as he did in the Olympics and get beaten, and you know, but that's fine for him because he's putting himself up against people he wants to, you know, show that this is the way I'm going to race this.
And he puts himself up against the very best in the world in the events. He doesn't hide, like you say, away from anything. So I absolutely love that. And that is a really good example for any young athlete, I think, up and coming. Do you know what? I train to compete. I don't train to hide. I train to compete. And that's what he's doing.
And of course, when this goes outdoors, this event, a lot more names will come into the frame. Hocker, of course, and from Great Britain, you've got Kerr and Whiteman, and obviously, you know, Neil Gourley there having a good go indoors as well. But there's a lot more countries, a lot more athletes in this event to make this so competitive.
And he loves that, though, doesn't he? He loves like the added pressure, and you know that all adds to his motivation for wanting him to go and collect more gold medals and break more records, and yeah, it's just very exciting for us to watch as well.
It certainly is. Well done to Jakob Ingebrigtsen. And probably I'd say, and I think you two agree on this, the race of the day came in the women's 60-metre hurdles. And here it is, the final, which really promised a lot and delivered. And as Steve said in commentary, Colin, you could race this 5 times and probably get a different result every time.
Yeah, do you know, even now I'm still holding on to the chair because I get so excited about this race. The best women hurdlers in the world going head to head. That's what we're talking about, aren't we?
OK, well, let's hear from the woman crown champion, Devon Charlton. Spoke to Sarah afterwards.
Devon, huge congratulations. You were able to successfully defend that title and fine form in the final as well.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's been a long indoor season, a rough indoor season, had my challenges, but, you know, I have a great team behind me. I trusted them. And coming into this, they said I'm ready, and I just had to believe that and execute.
How much inner belief did that take then to trust that process?
A lot, a lot. I mean, I fought everything in me because sometimes you feel like things just aren't going your way and you want to say, okay, maybe we skip this one. But now it's just like, if I'm healthy, I'm going to show up. And it took a lot, but I did it.
I can see what it means to you, tears in your eyes. You know, it must have been a lot of pressure as well.
Yeah, I mean, pressure's a privilege. And when you're the world record holder, the best has ever done it, you know, you have that little bit of a target, but it's one of those things you kind of put in the back of your mind and just know you have to give your best every single time you show up.
How are you going to celebrate now?
I mean, my whole family's here, so probably going to get into some trouble tonight.
Yeah, Devon obviously had, you know, some moments even in the heats and qualifying, didn't she, for that final, but produced the goods in a hot field.
Yeah, and we perhaps didn't expect her to win it, looking at the heats and the semi-final. And particularly in the semi-final, she got a fantastic start, but she wasn't able to maintain that speed, and Visser came right up on her. But in the final, you know, she flicked a switch. She got the amazing start that she did before, but she was able to carry that momentum, that speed all the way to the line and be competitive. And that's what a champion does.
One of the things that I noticed earlier on, and you may have picked up on it, Jess, that in the early round she was galloping in between, whilst when she came to this final, you can see there was just pure sprinting in between, running off every single hurdle very aggressively and not sitting back, taking her weight a little bit further back. She was always over every single hurdle, and that just allows you to run off it and push yourself forward, and that is exactly what the change was, and it gave that great performance from her.
And the splits of this race are really interesting because, of course, she got off to the explosive start, and so the first 15 metres or so was ahead. But then, in terms of top speed, it was kind of dipping between. Visser at one point, you know, with 10 metres to go, was at, you know, in the first place for the top speed. So it was fascinating here that actually, if this race was run over 100 metres, where it would have gone, Jess.
Yeah, it would have been interesting with that extra bit of distance. I think it would have changed completely. But I think Colin's right with Devon's speed that she was able to maintain through the hurdles. She didn't actually back up. She was, you know, progressing much faster as she was getting on later in the race. But that start for me, to start like that is...
Jealous.
Yeah, very jealous. It's something very special.
We have seen something special there. We have done over the last few days. And remember, if you want to catch up with anything at any time, all you have to do is head over to BBC iPlayer. It's all there. And we're going to be back with you in 5 weeks' time on Sunday, 27th of April, for the London Marathon, the best day in the sporting calendar, with live coverage starting at 8:30 on BBC One. And there's a bumper afternoon of women's sport. Manchester City are taking on Chelsea in the WSL over on BBC One at 2. A little later on this afternoon, the Red Roses begin their campaign in the Women's Six Nations on BBC Two. England are taking on Italy, and that, of course, is at 2:30. Let's have a little look then at the final medal table, and I think it makes pretty good reading for Great Britain. They're in 4th place with 4 medals, those 2 golds from Amber and Jeremiah, the silver there for Neil Gourley, and of course the bronze from Georgia Hunter-Bell, behind USA, who are just way out ahead with 16 medals in total. Tight though between Norway, who got their 3 goals in 2nd place, and 50, well, more than, I was going to say 50% of their medals came from Jakob Ingebrigtsen, but 2/3 of their golds. Ethiopia in 3rd. So I think Great Britain will be fairly pleased with their return from just 11 athletes who started events out there in Nanjing.
Yeah, I think you'd be happy to be part of that team, wouldn't you?
Absolutely,
in that sense, I think
yeah.
it would be quite a reasonably successful one. I mean, I was looking on the list as well, and I think Australia bringing home 7 medals. I think really have surprised me as well. So
gold and silver in the high jump was pretty impressive from there.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
so all in all, I think it was quite a good, when you think about a global championships, you can see with the way that all the medals are being given out.
OK, putting you on the spot now, with about a minute to go, I would like your athlete's performance of the championship. Who
I'm going to go first so he doesn't steal mine.
Go on.
I'm going to go with Jeremiah Azew. I think he has just been so sensational this indoor season. I think to deal with everything he dealt with last year, to come here and to win another title was just fantastic to see. He was just perfection for me, and yeah, I'm very happy that he's got another gold.
DQ'd in Paris, of course, so disappointed with that. Came back to his home, to his roots, to his training base with Helen James, where he started his whole athletics career, and it seems to be just reaping the rewards so quickly for him.
Yeah, and that's going to lift the whole of Welsh athletics as well, not just, you know, British athletics and him in his group. So it has been fantastic for him. But I'm going to stick with the Brits, and I'm going to go for Amber.
Okay.
Because, you know, she had a disaster in the Europeans when she was disqualified, and then to try and bounce yourself back, you know, with all that emotion and be full of running is really, really important.
And to be
wasn't
rugby
easy.
tackled in
Exactly.
a race.
It wasn't an easy final for her, but she kept a cool head and ended up delivering the gold medal. So well done.
Yeah, and two young athletes, kind of, you know, who Jeremiah we've known about for a few years, but it feels like this could be the real kind of springboard he needs. And for Amber, it's the first time she's not been in the NCAA. She's got to really get used to being a professional.
Yeah, and I've loved that. I think, you know, that whole experience that they're gaining and the way they're going to inspire the rest of the team.
Well, you inspire us all the time, Colin, as do you, Jess. Thank you so much for your company over the last 3 days. It's been really enjoyable to get stuck into some global athletics of the highest order. Of course, this is just the beginning of a great year of athletics. They're all going outside now, and for us, all roads lead to Tokyo in September for those World Championships. Sayonara.
Holloway wins it. 3 consecutive world titles.
Good of Segai, she's world indoor champion. Georgia Hunter-Bell has taken the bronze.
Inga Britson's got to get it again. His first world indoor title.
Mondo Duplantis has another title to add to his incredible CV.
Mujinga Kambunji coming through.
Inga Britson takes his second gold medal. Amber Hanning gets the gold. Brilliant run. That is too close to call. It's Azu.